is on. If the board could take their seats, please. Mary, can you call for a roll, please?
Ms. Sieber,
Yes.
Ms. Kennedy,
Here.
Ms. DeBenedictis,
Yes.
Ms. Iannarone,
Yes.
Mr. Mesmer,
Yes.
Ms. Bacala,
Yes.
Ms. Woolrab.
Mr. Edwards, Open Public Meeting Act notice, please.
The New Jersey Open Public Meeting Law was enacted to ensure the right of the public to advance notice of and to attend meetings of public bodies at which any business affecting their interest is discussed or acted upon. In accordance with the provisions of this act, the Brick Township Board of Education has caused notice of this meeting to be posted on the Administration Office Bulletin Board, the official district website, and Channel BTV 20, and sent to the Asbury Park Press, the Brick Times, the Star Ledger, and Municipal Clerk's Office.
We need a motion and a second to
Motion,
enter
Fran.
into closed session.
Second, Ally.
Whereas the Brick Township Board of Education has been formed pursuant to applicable New Jersey statutes, and whereas the board is charged with the responsibility of performing all acts and doing all things consistent with the law and the rules of the State Board of Education, necessary for the lawful and proper conduct, equipment, and maintenance of the public schools and public school property of the Brick Township School District, and whereas Section 7 of the Open Public Meeting Act permits the exclusion of the public from a meeting of the board in certain circumstances, and whereas the board has determined that circumstances exist for such an executive session, and whereas the board has and whereas the board has found the action described below to be necessary and proper, now therefore be it resolved by the board on May 9th, 2024, that the public shall be excluded from the discussion of and action on the executive session here and set forth. The session will be approximately 15 minutes, and the general nature of the subject matter to be discussed is harassment, intimidation, and bullying reports. It is anticipated at this time that the above stated subject matter will be made public if and when it is deemed to be in the public interest to do so, and the need for confidentiality is no longer required by the board.
Ms. Sieber,
Yes.
Ms. Kennedy,
Yes.
Ms. DeBenedictis,
Yes.
Ms. Iannarone,
Yes.
Mr. Mesmer,
Yes.
Ms. Bacala,
Yes.
Ms. Woolrab.
Put this over here.
If I could ask everybody to take their seats, please, we're going to get started. I know you're all anxious, so are we. I need a motion and a second to return.
Motion, Brand. Second, Ally.
Mary?
Ms. Siebert,
Yes.
Ms. Kennedy,
Yes.
Ms. DeBenedictis,
Yes.
Ms. Iannarone,
Yes.
Mr. Mesmer,
Yes.
Ms. Bacala,
Yes.
Ms. Walrath.
Yes. Ms. McNamara?
Thank you, Mrs. Walrath. Before we begin this evening, you might notice that Dr. Farrell is not with us. This is one of his favorite evenings of the year. However, due to a medical procedure, he wasn't able to join us this evening. We miss having him here with us, and we hope that you'll join us in keeping him in your thoughts and prayers. We expect him back shortly at the table. At this time, could you please stand for a salute to the flag and a moment of silence?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Order, on! Right, peace! Order, right!
Often it may appear to members of our audience that the Board of Education acts with very little comment and in many cases a unanimous vote. Please understand that before a matter is placed on the agenda at a public meeting, the administration has thoroughly reviewed the matter with the superintendent of schools, discussed it in appropriate BOE committees, and only then, if the superintendent is satisfied that the matter is ready to be presented to the full Board of Education, it is placed on the agenda for action at a public meeting. Board of Education members are given advance notice to review the agenda and through the chair ask questions or voice concerns. In rare instances, when necessary, some matters could be presented to the Board of Education for discussion and vote at that meeting. Ms. McNamara, student reps.
Thank you, Mrs. Walrath. At this time, we have a young man filling in for Brick Memorial High School, Ben Neller. Ben?
Good evening. I am Benjamin Neller, and I am filling in for Kristen McWade. I will begin with the update from Veterans Memorial Middle School. VMMS would like to congratulate all the Educators of the Year and educational service professionals being honored tonight. The VMMS Drama Club performed Sir Gawain and the Green Knight. Congratulations to Ms. Ash and the students for a job well done. The Student Council is holding a movie night on Thursday, May 16th, 2024 from 6 to 8 p.m. in the multipurpose room. $5 per ticket includes popcorn and water. We will be showing The Sandlot 1. The NJSLA, ELA, and science testing are completed, and next week students will complete the NJSLA math testing. In addition, Team 2 students won the Marking Period 3 PBSIS Challenge. VMMS also has some updates as spring sports are winding down for the season. Girls track and field beat Lake Revere last weekend to take the division title. Congratulations to the coaches and athletes for their hard work and dedication and for bringing home another title to VMMS. They look forward to many girls competing in the county championships next week. Boys track looks forward to having many boys compete in the county championships next week as they finish their season with multiple PRs. Baseball is currently in first place in the division and is looking to secure the title next week. Softball has had a great year and they are currently over 500. The team is young and is getting better every day. VMMS also has many very exciting upcoming events. The PTA Family Fun Night is on May 14th from 5:30 to 7:30. This will be a night full of karaoke, Jeopardy, duct tape, a principal to the wall, puzzles, board games, and much more. The VMMS Spring Band Concert is on May 15th at 6 p.m. at BMHS. And the 8th grade dance is on May 31st from 6 to 9 p.m. Next, I'd like to move on to the report from Brick Memorial High School. Congratulations to Miss Ball, who will be honored tonight as our Brick Memorial Teacher of the Year, and to Miss West, who will be recognized as the Brick Memorial Educational Service Professional of the Year. They're incredible colleagues and remain iconic forces in our school. On April 25th, Brick Memorial High School had the honor of hosting a deeply moving and impactful presentation by Gabe John, who visited our senior students to discuss the importance of responsible decision-making. During his presentation, Gabe shared videos, images, diagrams, and a CAT scan of his injuries, along with testimony from the first responder on duty that night and friends who supported him through his recovery. Despite the challenges he faced, Gabe continues to play the guitar and remain an inspiration to many. On Thursday, April 26th, Brick Memorial High School proudly hosted Bring Your Child to Work Day, welcoming about 40 children of faculty and staff to experience a day in the life of their loved ones. The event provided a unique opportunity for students to gain insight into the daily routines and responsibilities of their teachers. The day began with a warm welcome from the Mustangs, who guided the children through various activities, giving them a glimpse into the world of education. It was a fascinating experience for many students to meet the children they often hear about in their parents' stories. In addition to shadowing their parents, the children had the opportunity to observe classroom activities, gaining a deeper understanding of the teaching and learning process. And we cannot wait for an even larger crowd next year. 4 exceptional students from Brick Memorial, Christine Prince, Ben Ambrino, Luke Steinart, and Michael Townley, had the unique opportunity to present their innovative research on food sustainability in space to NASA. Under the guidance of Mr. Ben Shibley, a former Teacher of the Year, the students conducted groundbreaking studies on the feasibility of long-term space missions and sustainable food options for astronauts. Mr. Shibley, renowned for his dedication to student success, mentored these bright students, fostering their passion for science and space exploration. His commitment to excellence in education has inspired these young scholars to push the boundaries of scientific knowledge and discovery. Brick Memorial High School is thrilled to announce that Kaya Cano, a talented sophomore, has been chosen to sing with the renowned New Jersey All-State Chorus. This prestigious honor recognizes Kaya as one of the top performers in the state. Kaya encourages her fellow students to consider joining the chorus, describing it as a welcoming and enriching experience. To enroll in the chorus program for the upcoming school year, interested students are encouraged to schedule a meeting with their guidance counselors to add it to their class schedule. On Friday, May 3rd, the class of 2025 hosted the junior prom in our gym. Thank you to Mrs. Petrula, Mrs. Decker, and the entire class of 2025 executive board for what became an enchanting night. We appreciate all of the chaperones and the administration who made the night possible. A huge thank you to Mr. Lebrani and Mrs. Bokel and the culinary arts classes who catered and organized an incredible Cinco de Mayo lunch, yet another great example of how talented all of our students are. On Friday, March 3rd, we celebrated Lunch Hero Day. Thank you to Nicole Schornbusch, Kelly Mingalone, Carol Ann Dietrich, Barbara Corienti, Anna Fuentes, Cheryl Dipel, and Caitlin Barvilla for always smiling and being so welcoming to all of our Mustangs. There is no doubt we have the absolute best cafeteria staff there is. Our spring band concert was held on May 8th in the Brick Memorial High School auditorium at 6 p.m. Thank you to all who supported these talented performers as they took the stage for their final performance of the year. Please join Unified Sports as they take the field twice as we bring the school year to a close. Thursday, May 9th, for Brick Memorial High School versus Toms River East at the Field of Dreams. The start time is 6 p.m. And Wednesday, May 29th, for the 3rd annual Brick vs. Brick game at the VMMS Turf Field. The team arrival is 4 p.m. We hope to see everyone there. May is Mental Health Awareness Month. To honor each and every person's emotional, psychological, and social health, there will be several things going on within the school to promote awareness. This includes a Spirit Week, awareness videos, informational resources, activities, and trivia. The class of 2024 will hold their senior ball on Thursday, May 16th at the Southgate Manor. Thank you to Mrs. Stanley for stepping in as advisor this year and the entire executive board for what will be an incredible night as the senior class gathers one last time before graduation. We would like to wish a special good luck to our freshman classes who will be completing the upcoming NJSL8 state tests beginning on May 20th. We know our freshmen are well prepared and will showcase their skills. Join the classes of 2024 and 2025 on May 28th at 6 p.m. at the football fields as they take the field in the annual Powder Puff game. On May 30th, the BMHS Student Government will host a 4th annual Allison Grosso Memorial Color Run. The cost is $10, including a shirt, sunglasses, and color. All proceeds will go toward scholarships in her name. As always, don't forget to follow us on Twitter at Brick Memorial High School and subscribe to our podcast, Straight from the Mustang's Mouth, on your podcast app of choice. Finally, we look forward to honoring our class of 2024 with our annual Senior Awards Night on June 3rd and the culmination of our school year with our graduation. Additionally, I am very proud to announce that I will be continuing my education at Harvard College in the fall. I will be studying cellular and molecular biology. I would like to especially thank the Brick Township Board of Education for their guidance and support over the last 13 years. I will never forget the experiences and opportunities I've received during my time in Brick. Thank you.
Thank you, Ben, and good luck in all your future endeavors. I know they're bright. Amaya Dalton is going to speak from Brick Township High School, but before she does, this is Amaya's last meeting. She is a senior, and she has been serving as the student representative from Brick Township High School all year on the board. Amaya, in recognition of your service to the board and on behalf of Dr. Farrell and the entire Board of Education, we have a little gift for you. Amaya is going to be attending Boston University, and we wish her all the best in her future endeavors.
Good evening and thank you. I'm Amaya Dalton, Brick Township High School student representative. We do not have a report from Lake Riviera tonight, so I will be jumping right into Brick Township High School's report. There are many exciting events coming up for the last month of school. This week and next, our AP testing is taking place for students in College Board Advanced Placement courses. These students have been working super hard to prepare for the exams. Good luck to all. This week is Teacher and Staff Appreciation Week. Teachers are so valuable to our community, and I would love to give a big thank you to all of them, especially all the ones here. The student government honored our teachers and staff members by giving out reverse dragon scales to students during lunches that they could gift to their favorite staff members. Staff members were able to use the reverse dragon scales as raffle tickets for baskets at their faculty meeting yesterday. Reverse dragon scales were a fun way to give back to our teachers. The Parent-Teacher Student Association provided a full breakfast for our staff on Tuesday. The Student Government and Key Club teamed up to sponsor a snack cart for staff members yesterday. Students from the organizations went around to all the classrooms and offices to offer snacks and treats to our staff. The Student Government also hosted a Teacher Appreciation Spirit Week. Monday was Spring Colors, Tuesday was Rhyme Without Reason Pairs, yesterday was Western Wednesday, today was Teacher-Student Swap Day, students dressed up as their teachers and teachers dressed like students, and tomorrow we will wear green and white. Student Government is excited to announce that we are currently accepting applications for students looking to run for class president, vice president, treasurer, secretary, and they're open on the Student Government Google Classroom and due tomorrow. These past few weeks have been busy at BTHS. On April 24th, all 11th and 12th grade students attended a presentation by Gabe Hurley that discussed the importance of making smart decisions, especially when driving. Gabe Hurley was a great speaker that shared his story about an accident that changed his life, leaving an impact on BTHS students that we should remember with our upcoming proms. The Future Educators of America Club visited the preschool students at Warren H. Wolf Elementary School to read to them and do activities related to Earth Day and learn about the importance of recycling and reducing waste. The Key Club, Woodworking Classes, and Brick Kiwanis Club teamed up to create book boxes for Brick Beach. The Key Club will also be collecting donations for the Popcorn Park Zoo throughout May. The senior football players took on the Brick Township Police Department in the annual Helping Hands basketball benefit game at BTHS on May 3rd. After a tight game, the police department took the win over the seniors. The BTHS choir sponsored this year's Silhouette Singer, which took place on Tuesday in the BTHS auditorium. This was a fun event in which BTHS staff members gave a performance behind a screen, and students in the audience tried to guess who was behind the silhouette. Yesterday, the JROTC program sponsored a blood drive with the American Red Cross in BTHS Auxiliary Gym. The track and field team had a fun Friday night running under the lights at Ocean County Relays last week. The boys' varsity sprint medley of Jake Hancock, Trey Williams, Abel Rivas, and Anthony Thomas placed second, and the girls' varsity sprint medley of Desiree Majette, Emma Canfield, Caitlin Chandler, and Kira McHugh took place third. The girls' lacrosse team won against rivals Brick Memorial on Monday. Congratulations to Abby Infuso, who celebrated scoring her 100th point last week, and Claire Ash, who scored her 100th goal on Monday. The boys' tennis team had big wins last week against Brick Memorial, Howell, and Jackson Liberty, securing themselves a spot in the Shore Conference tournament. BTHS will be active as we close out the school year. Looking ahead, on May 14th, the Senior Drama Showcase will take place in the BTHS Auditorium. All seniors in the Drama Club will have the opportunity to perform for one last time. Monday, May 20th through Thursday, May 23rd, freshman students will be taking the NJSLA, ELA, and math test, and juniors will be taking the science test. BTHS will be on an altered schedule during NJSLA testing. Testing students will arrive at normal school time, while non-testing students will arrive at school at 9:45. Information will be sent out to all families tomorrow evening from Dr. Cajun. The Unified Sports Kickball team has a game May 21st. The Dragons will be taking on the Point Borough Panthers at the Point Pleasant football field on Moore Ave. Kickoff starts at 5:45 p.m. The Junior Prom is on Thursday, May 16th at Jumping Brook Country Club from 5 to 9 p.m. The Senior Ball is on Thursday, May 23rd at Southgate Manor from 5 to 9. The week following the Senior Ball will begin Senior Week, a fun week filled with activities for the senior class. On Tuesday, May 29th, we will be having our senior picnic at Brick Beach 3 from 9:30 to 1. On Wednesday, we will walk through the halls of our elementary schools for Senior Walk. All seniors will be provided our BTHS alumni shirts to wear to the walk. Thursday, we will have senior breakfast in Cafe 3 at 8 a.m. Senior Scholarship and Awards Night, sponsored by the Guidance Department, is on Thursday, May 30th at 6 p.m. in the BTHS Auditorium. There are many scholarships and awards to be given out from local donors and staff members. Senior students being recognized will receive an invitation from Guidance. The senior class is excited for the opportunity to attend Six Flags Grad Night at Six Flags Great Adventure on Friday, June 9th. The park will close down for only senior classes and chaperones. There will be DJs, dance areas, dinner, and of course the roller coasters. This will be a fun night to celebrate before our last week of high school. Be sure to stay connected to events and inside information by accessing our school website, SGA Instagram at BTHSSGA, and our school Twitter at BTHS Dragons. You can always also see all of our happenings monthly through Dr. Cajun's Dragon Review. Thank you so much for this opportunity to present at the monthly Board of Education meetings this year. It has been a pleasure to share recent BTHS news and an honor to represent the student body. This opportunity has helped me gain experience in public speaking, and I will definitely use these skills in college and beyond. Thank you again to our Board of Education for working so hard for us students. For the last time, #Go Dragons.
Thank you again, Amaya. Now we have Kyle Plakis, Cadet Colonel Kyle Plakis from the ROTC. Kyle?
Thank you. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, board members and staff members. As stated, I'm Cadet Colonel Kyle Plakis, the NJ-822 Group Commander, and I'll be briefing you on what our cadets have been doing in the last month. So on April 26th, NJ-822 hosted our yearly military ball. It was fun-filled, equally enjoyable, yet also professional, holding up standards of the United States Armed Forces. Yesterday, the 8th, we hosted the BTHS Red Cross Blood Drive. In total, BTHS donated around 34 pints of blood, but hopefully setting a bar to pass for next year. And next week is our change of command and our annual awards, so all of our cadets get to get our awards. But that's pretty much it. I want to thank everybody here, and thank you for our support throughout these years. Thank you very much.
Ms. McNamara, will you introduce the presentations?
Thank you, Mrs. Walrab. At this time, please welcome Dr. Anderson to the mic as she begins the 2023-2024 Governor's Educator of the Year tribute. Dr. Anderson?
Thank you, Ms. McNamara. As the Director of Curriculum and Instruction, I'm thrilled to honor the recipients of the Governor's Educator of the Year program for the 23-24 school year. Let me first begin by saying that Dr. Farrell is deeply disappointed that he's unable to be here tonight. He values every opportunity to celebrate our dedicated and talented educators, and he's asked me to offer his congratulations and let you know that he's extremely grateful and proud of the contributions that each of you make each day to the students of Brick Township. The Governor's Educator of the Year program aims to recognize educators who have gone above and beyond in their service to New Jersey students. This program recognizes excellence, creates a sense of pride, and brings public attention to the work of outstanding educators. The nomination process commences in November when each school community is invited to nominate teachers and educational services professionals. Using a rubric, each school committee evaluates the nominations and announces their school representatives in December. Tonight, we gather as a community to honor these talented educators as May marks Teacher Appreciation Month. First, I'd like to express gratitude to those important individuals who worked tirelessly behind the scenes to create this year's Governor's Educator of the Year tribute. A big thanks to our principals, the Supervisor of Visual and Performing Arts, Jennifer Lane, our administrative assistants, Kathy Stewart, Dawn Skiffo, and Sandy Byer, the tech team, and especially Janine Conlon for capturing these special moments tonight. Above all, I want to extend my deepest gratitude to Fran Bristol, our TV teacher, who dedicated countless hours to producing this year's video. This video tribute not only amplifies the voices of our teachers and educational services professionals, but also celebrates their unwavering commitment to our students and the teaching profession. I would now like to ask the members of the board and central administration to please relocate to the first rows of seats so that you can enjoy the video tribute.
Our Herbertsville community wishes to congratulate Mr. Joseph Lawler as our Governor's Educator of the Year. Mr. Joe has spent his entire 20-year teaching career in Brick Township, and he currently serves as a teacher of preschool students. Mr. Joe understands that each student needs to be treated as an individual with individual needs, and he has the ability to get his students to express those needs. Mr. Joe is definitely an asset to our Herbertsville community.
I got my passion for teaching through one of my younger brothers who struggled with reading. And he took a long time, almost till middle school, until he finally got the right help that he needed. And that teacher inspired me because I spent most of my life trying to help him and couldn't help him. And she added in a couple simple accommodations, and he soared from then on. So she was my inspiration. My educational philosophy was children first. Very simple. Based all my decisions on what is in the best interest of my students.
Our Herbertsville community wishes to congratulate Ms. Jacqueline Janik as our Educational Services Professional of the Year. As our preschool coordinator, Ms. Jackie does it all. She has an in-depth knowledge of our Tools of the Mind curriculum and helps guide teachers in their implementation of that program. Our preschool program would not be the quality program it is without her contributions. Both of our preschools are fortunate to have Ms. Jacqueline Janik as a member of our communities.
I get my passion for teaching, I believe, from my aunt. She was a preschool teacher, and I would go visit her in her classroom, and I saw her passion, and I loved seeing those aha moments with students and what she enriched in their lives, and I wanted to do the same thing. The most important element of my job is being able to impact more students than just in the classroom. I get to impact over 500 students by helping teachers with curriculum, and my impact is even greater now. My educational philosophy is to not teach children what to think, but to teach children how to think, and the best way to do that is through play.
Warren H. Wolf Early Childhood Development Center is proud to announce Ms. Michelle Walsh as our Governor's Educator of the Year. In Ms. Michelle's classroom, every child is honored for what they bring to school every day, both academically and socially. Miss Michelle stands out because of the love and affection that she has for her students and the passion she has for teaching. When walking into her classroom, it is truly magical to see that passion at work.
I get my passion for teaching from the children. Every day I come into work, I am inspired by their curiosity, by their willingness to want to learn and do things, their excitement. It brings me great joy when I see the flicker of curiosity in their eyes. My philosophy is that all children are able to learn and they should feel empowered, they have a voice, and I want them to love learning. So it's my role as their teacher to have them love learning and try to inspire them to love the process. One of my goals is to inspire the children to know that they are active learners, that they are in it together, that they can be lifelong lovers of learning, and that mistakes are okay, and it's okay to keep trying because you can do it, you are important, and you are loved.
The Warren H. Wolf Early Childhood Development Center is proud to announce Mrs. Heather Scott as our Governor's Educational Services Professional. Ms. Scott has been our preschool coach for the last 3 years and does an amazing job of supporting our students and staff. Ms. Heather is always willing to assist a staff member with curricular, classroom, or particular student needs. She supports not only our staff members, but also our students. Mrs. Scott does an amazing job of balancing her duties as a preschool intervention coach to serve our students and our staff to ensure that we are providing a high-quality preschool program for our students.
I get my passion for education. I'm very self-motivated, but I also have an intrinsic gratification that I get from helping teachers succeed, as I did with students when I was in the classroom. In my current position, we use practice-based coaching models, so it's using focused observations and reflection. So that reflection and feedback conversations that I have with teachers in the building to improve practices. I think collaboration would probably be my largest educational philosophy, is just working together. I always feel I'm still learning as I'm teaching others to better their practices as well.
We are proud to announce our Governor's Educator of the Year to Mrs. Jill Kempner. Jill currently teaches first grade at Drum Point Elementary School. She sets the stage for student success each and every day and always demonstrates a willingness to adapt lessons to meet the needs of her students. Every student has an opportunity to shine in Jill's care. This year, Jill has developed and presented workshops for staff and parents, focusing on how to best support early literacy. Mrs. Kempner truly embodies the district vision of student-centered, teacher-led, and community-connected.
I think the most important element to my teaching style is maintaining a sense of routine and continuity, because I do believe that when children arrive at the classroom with a sense of understanding what the day is going to run like and what the expectations are going to be, then that frees up their mind from wondering and guessing and allows them to really focus on the learning and the work that I'm asking them to do and gives them a chance to thrive in the learning environment. I am here to help them when they need it, and I am here to believe in these children when they might not believe in themselves, but I can gently push them in the right direction so that they can discover what they're capable of.
We are pleased to announce Ms. Diana Del Rio as the Governor's Educational Services Professional. Diana is a paraprofessional in a first grade classroom at Drum Point Elementary School. She approaches each day with a fresh and positive attitude and a dedication that is truly commendable. Her genuine care for the well-being and success of her students is truly inspirational.
I love teaching. I will say that when I was growing up, I never saw myself as a teacher, and it's something that it took me by surprise. I have an auntie. She was a special education teacher, and I saw all the loving that she put into her students. The most important is to respect each other and to always take in mind what the person is or the student is feeling at the moment. I would like to be remembered as a kind and loving teacher who likes to always have fun.
Our Governor Educator Teacher of the Year is Miss Lisa DeSambre. She is an ESL teacher here. She works with students from kindergarten all the way through 5th grade. Miss DeSambre has a very special relationship with her colleagues here. She is like a go-to person for all types of supports with our MLs. I think Miss DeSambre's special talent is her ability to really see how important it is to be part of the school community. Not only does she worry about the academics of the students, but she also worries about the social end of it. Her ability to see that it's more than just coming in to teach and how important it is to be part of the community is what makes her special.
I think I got my passion from teaching because I just always enjoyed school. I could not imagine never being in school. You know, thinking about adulthood when you're a child and thinking about the working environment, I just imagined myself always being in school. And I had really good teachers who were inspiring. And now that I am a teacher, it's the kids that do it for me. Every day is a different adventure. No 2 days are the same. So I think that keeps me inspired to keep going. It really is a team effort. My students are not just my students, they're all of our students. And I think that it really is it's a big effort by everyone in the school building to help these kids feel welcome, feel adjusted, and to help them guide them on their learning career.
Miss Michelle Watts is our Governor's Educational Service Professional member. She is a paraprofessional in the building, and she has been in this position for about 7 years now. She truly understands the unique needs of her students. So while she wants to hold them to, the right accountability and help them reach their goals, she does it with love. She does it as if any mother would want their children to be treated. And that's what really makes her stand out.
The most important element to my teaching style is patience, learning my students' wants and needs to make our lessons individualized for them so that they can be successful in their learning. My teaching philosophy is having a strong connection with my students as well as with the teachers I work with so we can provide a safe and loving environment for them.
Lanes Mill would love to congratulate this year's Governor's Educator of the Year, Mrs. Corbo. Mrs. Corbo is a kindergarten teacher. She's taught in the Brick Township School District for 11 years and has been at Lanes Mill for 11 years. She has an extremely warm classroom environment, very accepting of all of her students' needs. She is extremely committed to her students and her own personal education. She works well with others and is extremely collaborative. She is a shining light in the kindergarten classroom and amongst her peers. She is a positive role model and continually contributes to the culture of Lanes Mill Elementary School.
The most important element to my teaching style is the ability to recognize the differences in my learners, the interests they have as students. My teaching educational philosophy is based off of student-teacher relationship. I think that's super important in schools and something that I value. My passion from teaching comes from my students. I want to be remembered by my students in a way that they know I believed in them.
Lanes Mill Elementary School would love to congratulate the Governor's Educational Service Professional of the Year, Mrs. Monzo. Mrs. Monzo is a paraprofessional who works at Lanes Mill Elementary School. This is her 7th year working within the building. Mrs. Monzo is extremely respectful of her students' needs, making sure all of their academic and social-emotional well-being is met throughout the day. She is extremely adaptable, willing to adjust her teaching methods to meet the various components of her students' IEPs.
I would like to be remembered as respectful, approachable, and supportive. I want my colleagues to say, I loved working with her, and I want my students to say, I was able to support them. I get my passion from my great role models. I was able to grow up with a grandmother who actually taught in the district for many years, and I also have an aunt and a sister in the district, so it's like a family affair. The most important element to my teaching is to be patient. I think it's really important to let the student learn at their own pace. My teaching philosophy is to have high expectations. I think if you set high expectations, that the students will rise to meet them.
I'm very honored to have Melissa Kovaleski as Midstream's Elementary School's Teacher of the Year for the 2023-2024 school year. Ms. Kowaleski is an excellent teacher in our building. The best thing about Ms. Kowaleski is her positive and warm and supportive classroom environment. She always has a great way with her students. She is a positive influence in their lives and gives her all each and every day. Ms. Kowaleski is always positive. She always has great things to teach and also expects a lot out of her students. And what makes her the most successful teacher is her relationships with her students.
I get my passion for teaching from my students' successes and helping them overcome any challenges they may face. The most important element to my teaching style is the patience and understanding I have with my students. Some days are easier than others, but I try to be as patient as possible with all of them. My teaching educational philosophy is meeting the needs of the whole child, so not just academics as the sole focus, but also their emotional support and their social skills. I would like to be remembered by my colleagues and students as an energetic, outgoing, and supportive teacher and colleague to everyone around me.
I'm so happy to announce that Sandra Kuhl has been awarded the Educational Services Professional of the Year for the 23-24 school year. The best thing about Sandy is her love of her students. Although she is a one-to-one paraprofessional, she treats each and every student with the same kindness and respect that students deserve.
I would like to be remembered as a friendly and outgoing person who's easily approachable to come to when anyone needs something, and adaptable for whatever comes my way. My passion for teaching comes from my own 2 children who are now in college, and watching them grow up and hoping that someone would be able to help them out and guide them throughout their schooling when they were younger. My teaching and educational philosophy is that all children can learn. You just have to find what motivates them best and work with that to help them reach their full potential.
Greetings from Osborneville Elementary School. I am proud and pleased to talk about our Governor's Educator of the Year for 2024, Mrs. Deb Thomas. Mrs. Deb Thomas teaches basic skills instruction. Her BSI environment consists of a small group semicircle table that has all of the fun instructional tools that are necessary to really build the foundations for reading and writing. We are blessed to have her as one of our basic skills instructors here at Osborneville.
My passion comes from my commitment to ensure that all students feel loved, encouraged, and valued, and that I strive to be a lifelong learner so that I can continue to provide meaningful, relevant, and challenging instruction. My most important element to my teaching style is that I take great pride in fostering an environment where students feel loved, encouraged, and valued. I believe that all students have the ability to thrive and learn in the right educational environment, an environment that fosters an atmosphere where students feel free to explore without the fear of failure and to face challenges as opportunities for growth. And my role as a guide, facilitator, and mentor is to support this learning environment and recognize each student's unique needs.
Our Governor's Educational Services Professional, Mrs. Serena Spitzer. Mrs. Spitzer is our speech therapist here at Osborneville Elementary School. What I find to be most powerful for our service professionals in the building is when they recognize that their targeted instruction really impact the global education of the child. So once again, it gives me great pride to congratulate Mrs. Serena Spitzer as our Governor's Educational Service Professional.
My passion for teaching comes from my 5th grade teacher, Miss Weiss. She was fun, interesting, kind. I just loved being in her class, and I wanted to be just like her. The most important element to my teaching style is hands-on learning, multisensory learning, and positive encouragement to build their confidence. I believe that learning goes beyond the classroom, and I believe that my role as a speech therapist in the educational setting is to provide my students with the skills that they need to nurture and encourage them so that they can become effective communicators to achieve success in the classroom and in life.
This year's Governor Educator of the Year award recipient is Miss Vicki Letterly. Miss Letterly is an ERI teacher in grades K, 1, and 2. She began her career at Brick Schools around 20 years ago as a volunteer at the PLC. She quickly decided that education was her path, so she became a paraprofessional. She decided to go to school in the evenings to get her teaching certificate. Vicki is a calming, caring, and compassionate educator who always puts the needs of her students first.
I originally decided to become a teacher because I started as a volunteer in the school. And so there were many professionals, administrators and colleagues and teachers that inspired me every day to decide to go back to school to become a teacher. For me, the most important element would be patience and kindness. I teach a group of students who need a little extra love and attention. And so if I'm able to meet them where they are and give them breaks and love and attention, that's the most important part of my teaching style.
This year, Veterans Memorial Elementary School is proud to recognize Miss Michelle Larson as our Governor's Educational Service Professional. Mrs. Larson works in our Child Study team. In this role, Mrs. Larson works with both students, parents, and staff to help meet the needs of all of our learners.
I think one of the most important things for me in my role is to make sure that everybody feels heard and that they have a role at the table. So, you know, we're all involved in making a difference in children's lives, and I want to make sure that everybody feels that their role is unique and special. A good part of what I do is working with our children in self-contained program who have emotional and behavioral difficulties. And my role as a social worker is to really work with the families, try to get them the supports that they need for themselves and their child outside of school. So I try to connect them with community resources that can help, you know, navigate them through the challenges that they're experiencing.
It is an honor and a privilege to speak about our Support Person of the Year and our Governor's Educator of the Year awards. With the Governor Educator, the recipient this year is Lauren Altabello. Lauren recognition, I think, is long overdue. And Lauren is so humble. She just goes through her days and her years without ever touting her excellence, which she is widely recognized within our school community as being one of our best. She's a language arts social studies teacher. What makes her special is simple. It's the love of her students, and that she commits to the academic, social, and emotional growth of those students.
The most important element to my teaching style is building relationships with my students, built on mutual respect and admiration. I think with those relationships, I'm then able to create a classroom culture that empowers my students to not only learn academically, but grow socially and emotionally as well. My teaching and educational philosophy is that all students learn differently. And as a teacher, I think it's my job to adjust my teaching style to meet their needs, not expect my students to adjust how they learn to how I'm teaching. I would hope that my students would remember me as someone who taught them more than just academic standards, but additionally real-world skills that they can use.
Our Governor's Support Services Professional of the Year is Kelly Ferrulo. Kelly is one of our student services counselors. She knows how to reach the students, and she's committed to their growth, to their emotional growth. You know, she doesn't see the kids that aren't struggling, the kids that come to her, the kids who need a helping hand. And she always reaches out to them, gives them the support that they need. And then when they leave here after 8th grade promotion, they don't forget her.
I love it that students feel that I have created a space where they are comfortable enough to come when they are having an issue. I think part of my role is really just helping them navigate the life of a middle schooler. So I want to be remembered as a team player. Growing up on team sports, I understand the importance of everyone having a role and doing your role. So definitely being a team player and being someone who is approachable. And when somebody needs help, I do what I can to help.
The Veterans Memorial Middle School Governor's Educator of the Year is Katie Guthrie. She teaches the 6th, 7th, and 8th grade students. Mrs. Guthrie is a beacon of strength and support for her students and colleagues. She demonstrates empathy, patience, and understanding with everyone she encounters each day. Katie stands out because she is dedicated to fostering growth, both academically and emotionally, for each student in her classroom, and she inspires those around her to be their very best. Her commitment to excellence and dedication make her a true champion for all of her students, and this is what makes her so special.
It all started when I was 5 years old in kindergarten. My kindergarten teacher was just so warm and welcoming. Mrs. Johnson is someone I will always remember, and since then I'd wanted to be a teacher, and then it led into me playing school at home and playing with my dolls and my siblings. And I have a brother who has special needs. He has cerebral palsy and a hearing loss, and that led for my desire to be a special education teacher. My teaching philosophy goes back to making sure the needs of all of my students are met and really individualizing everything that I do to make sure that each of my students can be successful, not giving up on them, adapting material as I need to go, being flexible with what I have to do day in and day out, because things change in a matter of moment in an autism classroom. So really just working with all the staff and students to make sure that the students are able to meet their goals and objectives and their IEPs, and again, being individual and independent and looking towards their future and trying to help prepare them and their families for a future outside of school.
The Veterans Memorial Middle School Governor's Educational Service Professional of the Year is Stephanie Matteo, and she works in our 6th, 7th, and 8th grade program. Stephanie is so successful as a paraprofessional because she cares so much about the students, and she always wants what's best for them. She's dedicated to going the extra mile to provide support, encouragement, and guidance to her colleagues, students, and their families. Stephanie stands out because of her commitment to the well-being and success of each student, and this creates a positive learning environment in which the students feel valued. Her knowledge and expertise makes Stephanie a go-to person amongst her colleagues and an invaluable asset to her team.
I've always wanted to work with children, and to be a part of the special ed community is a bonus. I believe the most important element to my teaching style is to be able to adapt to any situation. My philosophy is that each child has the ability to learn and explore various methods to reach their potential.
I'm excited to bring to your attention our Governor's Educator of the Year, Ms. Courtney Goff Robinson. As a special education teacher, Ms. Robinson understands the value of tailoring educational opportunities to individual student needs. As a result of the learning environment that Ms. Robinson creates, students are offered an opportunity to collaborate, interact, and problem solve together. It is an honor to recognize Ms. Robinson as Brick Township High School's Governor's Educator of the Year.
One of the most important elements to my teaching style is that I like to give students choice. I think by giving them choice, they can own their work and they own their learning. Whether it's my English class and we're doing choice reading and they get to pick the novels they want to read, or they're working on choice assessment menus where they get to choose how they want to show me what they've learned through a unit, or in my teaching class where there's a variety of choices in presenting their knowledge through portfolios and performance assessments. So I like the fact that in my classrooms, students have a lot of power over their learning through choice. My passion for teaching in recent years, I think, comes from being a parent. As a parent, it's not about academics, it's about making your children better people, and I feel like that translates into the classroom. I want my students to walk away with not necessarily, well, I do want them to walk away with the academic information, but I want them to walk away better people. I hope that I can impart life lessons for them to help them with their future.
At this time, I would like to recognize Brick Township High School's Governor's Educational Service Professional of the Year, Ms. Lauren Ianello. As a school counselor, Ms. Ianello works directly with multiple stakeholders to ensure that the most productive outcomes are realized for our students. With one interaction, you can quickly recognize that she cares deeply for the success of her students as well as the school community as a whole. Ms. Ianello is genuine, authentic, and supportive. She gives our students a voice while continually advocating for their best interests.
My passion for education started with my parents, who are both educators, as well as my own experience as a student athlete in Brick schools. I graduated from Brick Township High School in 2002, and I was involved in 3 varsity sports, among other clubs. And I just feel that having quality mentors in my life shaped me who I am. And I hope that I'm able to be a school counselor and a coach who can shape the lives of others. And my goal as a school counselor is to empower students to achieve their full potential and to prepare them for life beyond being a brick dragon.
Our Governor Educator of the Year for Brook Memorial High School is Sarah Ball. She teaches special education. She is a lot to not just her classroom environment, but to our school building and culture as a whole. She brings a certain drive for success and has a demanding yet subtle approach that everybody kind of feeds off of, and ultimately just creates a positive dialogue and allows for a lot of education, a lot of success, and a lot of learning in multiple ways.
My most important element to my teaching style is making sure that my students, they feel loved, they feel that they're important, and that they feel that they're capable of doing things that they can't. Every student has the capacity to do great things. A lot of our students come to us thinking that they can't or they won't, and my philosophy is to pull that out of them and show them that they can.
For this year's Governor Education Services Professional of the Year at Brook Memorial High School is Miss Samantha West. The unique thing about Miss West and what her role is she can take any type of situation. Like it could be, like I said, a student in crisis, and she can just handle it with a calm and a cool and a collective demeanor, which puts everybody at ease and creates a comfort zone for whoever's interacting with her. One of the best things that I can say that she does is exactly that. She solves problems, and she's a great asset to the Brook Memorial High School community.
I have two important elements to my counseling style that I boiled this down to. One is safety and confidentiality. I always want people who come into this office, whether it's students or adults, to feel as safe and as possible, like their rights are protected and there's confidentiality in the things that we discuss. The other thing that is most important to me is laughter. We got to be able to have fun and when appropriate, make light of a situation and be able to laugh at ourselves and add some humor. My counseling philosophy would more so be just meet people where they are. Meet the students where they're at and understand that every single student is an individual going through something completely individualized, and that I try to customize my counseling philosophy to meet the student exactly where they are, and rather than kind of putting myself in their shoes, just walking alongside them instead.
Okay, so at this time, I'm going to invite our Board of Education members to
Our
report to the
Herbertsville community
stage.
wish.
I know you loved it. You want to see it again. We will make the link available to you because it really was just such a beautiful tribute to all of you and your accomplishments. So thank you, all of you. So at this time, our Board of Education members will report to the stage to present our teachers and educational services professionals with their awards. An official portrait with the Board of Education President, Mrs. Walrab, Ms. McNamara, and our principal will also be taken. So when I call your name, please proceed down the aisle and ascend the staircase located on the right of the stage. Okay. From Herbertsville Early Childhood Development Center, Teacher of the Year, Joseph Lawler. An Educational Services Professional, Jacqueline Janik. From Warren H. Wolf Early Childhood Development Center, the Teacher of the Year, Michelle Walsh. An Educational Services Professional, Heather Scott. Heather wasn't able to join us this evening because she had an event for her son. From Drum Point Elementary School, our Teacher of the Year, Jill Kepner. An Educational Services Professional, Diana Del Rio. From Emma Havens Young Elementary School, Teacher of the Year, Lisa DeSombre. Unfortunately, Lisa couldn't be with us tonight, but we'd like to congratulate Lisa on the birth of her daughter. She was born last week. I guess she had a good reason to miss. She's here watching on the live stream. An educational services professional, Michelle Watt. From Lanes Mill Elementary School, Teacher of the Year, Kelly Corbo. And educational services professional, Heather Monzo. From Midstreams Elementary School, Teacher of the Year, Melissa Kowaleski. And educational services professional, Sandra Kuhl. From Osborneville Elementary School, Teacher of the Year, Deborah Thomas. And educational services professional, Serena Spitzer. From Veterans Memorial Elementary School, Teacher of the Year, Victoria Letterly. And educational services professional, Michelle Larson. From Lake Riviera Middle School, Teacher of the Year, Lauren Altabello. And educational services professional, Kelly Frullo. And a thank you to Mrs. Bucco, Mr. Campbell's assistant principal, who's standing in for him tonight because he's sick at home. From Veterans Memorial Middle School, Teacher of the Year, Kathleen Guthrie. And educational services professional, Stephanie Matteo. From Brick Township High School, Teacher of the Year, Courtney Goff Robinson. And educational services professional, Lauren Ianello. And lastly, from Brick Memorial High School, Teacher of the Year, Sarah Ball. And educational services professional, Samantha West. So please join me in a final round of applause for all our Governor's Educator of the Year recipients. At this time, we'll be taking the individual portraits and 4 group photos, and afterwards, I'll ask everyone to take their seats again so that we can introduce the District Teacher of the Year. Have a good night. Thank you all. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Got it. Thank you. Thank you.
Take care.
Thank you. Oh, thank you.
Beth, appreciate you.
Thank you.
Come up all the time. You.
Thank you.
Okay. So please take your seats and we will conclude our program with our District Teacher of the Year. Each Teacher of the Year candidate undergoes a rigorous application process for the Ocean County Teacher of the Year Award. A district committee comprising teachers, administrators, and community members evaluates these applications to select the Brick Township District Teacher of the Year. The committee thoroughly reviews each candidate's professional biography, teaching philosophy, message, and educational leadership qualities. This task is quite challenging as all of our teachers are incredibly deserving of recognition. In alignment with our district's vision, student-centered, teacher-led, and community-connected, this year's District Teacher of the Year stands out as an exemplary leader, Universally recognized by our school community, she has leveraged her expertise in early literacy to cater to her students' needs, offer valuable professional development for her colleagues, and strengthen community connection by designing an early literacy presentation for parents. For these reasons and so many more, please join me in congratulating the 23-24 Brick Township District Teacher of the Year, Jill Kempner.
Thank you. I know Dr. Farrell's watching, so I will start by saying Dr. Farrell, Dr. Anderson, Ms. McNamara, Ms. Granger, Mr. Kleisler, Mr. Edwards, members of the Board of Education, colleagues, family, friends, and guests. Good evening. I would like to first thank the Board of Education and Fran for presenting such a wonderful tribute tonight. The words of every single person in that video are just so powerful, and it's an absolute honor and privilege to receive this recognition alongside so many dedicated professionals. It's very humbling, and I want to commend everyone here tonight for the hard work that you do each and every day for the betterment of the students of this town. I would like to extend my deepest gratitude to my family for their unwavering support and for understanding everything I do and all the boxes and the projects throughout my journey in education. Their encouragement and patience are truly my bedrock, enabling me to pursue my passions wholeheartedly because I love what I do. I would also like to acknowledge my amazing colleagues. Yay! I am immensely grateful for their encouragement, their expertise, and their friendship. In addition, I would like to recognize several of the administrators in this room and some who are watching from home tonight, who have supported me, encouraged me, and validated my efforts over the years. I can't pinpoint an exact moment when I made a decision to pursue a career in teaching. It kind of feels more like life quietly nudged me in that direction, placing me on a path where my passion for learning and my curiosity and my desire to make an impact naturally converged. Looking back, now I see the countless moments, the sparks of inspiration, the struggles and the victories, the profound connections with my own teachers, everything that led me toward a career in education. I am curious by nature, I'm a reader at heart, and I love learning all the things. I feel like teaching picked me, and I embraced it with open arms, knowing that it was where I was meant to be. As I reflect on my career to this point, a quote that resonates very profoundly with me is actually by Abraham Maslow, and you might know him from his hierarchy of needs. He said, "In any given moment, we have two options, to step forward into growth or to step back into safety." This quote captures the essence of my philosophy as a teacher because it's all about embracing change and moving towards growth, even when it pushes us out of our comfort zones. And change is unavoidable, isn't it? It's like the shifting tides of the ocean or the changing seasons. And in our field, change is one of the very few certainties we can count on, whether it's adapting to new curriculum, adjusting to revised standards, embracing ever-evolving technology, or navigating shifts in educational policies. It's how we respond to these changes that ultimately defines us as educators. From the start of my career, I've often, not always, but often chosen to step forward into growth. I've embraced change as an opportunity to learn, to innovate, and to seek ways to better serve my students. It has not always been easy, and I haven't always appreciated it in the moment, because working with little people is really, really hard sometimes. But every challenge has been another stepping stone towards personal and professional development. But here's the thing, I couldn't have done it alone. Mentorship has played a huge role in my journey. Sorry. I have been so fortunate to have so many mentors who have guided me and challenged me and inspired me to be the very best educator I can be. They've been a source of wisdom, support, some hard truths, and encouragement, advising me through the many highs and lows of this profession. I'm good. It's all good. When I first started teaching at Vetzell 20 years ago, a group of my coworkers immediately took me under their wings. Some of them are here tonight. These teachers helped me learn how to plan, how best to communicate with families, how to handle challenging situations, and how to prioritize and adapt to the constantly changing demands of the job. They provided me with a sense of safety and support that allowed me to take risks and implement new ideas with my students. They became my family away from my family. And I can see their positive influences that are peppered all throughout my own teaching practices. 16 years later, I experienced the power of mentorship yet again when I moved from upper elementary to first grade. Talk about a change. It was one that I welcomed and a challenge that I definitely felt ready to take on. But the opportunity presented itself in the middle of a pandemic lockdown and hybrid learning. So I became essentially a brand new teacher all over again, only this time with Google Meet. And suddenly that Google boot camp that I had attended was paying off in dividends. Luckily, I was welcomed by another team of teachers who were patient with me, who answered all of my questions, who shared their invaluable wisdom and advice, and who helped me acclimate to my new role. Knowing that they were there to guide and support me allowed me to step forward into primary learning, and I very quickly morphed into a phonics nerd. It's not just about having mentors, though, it's about being a mentor to others as well. I really believe in the importance of paying it forward in this profession, of sharing our knowledge and experience with our colleagues, because the whole is always greater than the sum of its individual parts. We are so fortunate to be part of a district that recognizes our professional strengths and talents of individuals and provides opportunities for sharing them with each other. Leadership is, after all, a journey to help those around us rise. And teaching should never feel like a solitary endeavor. It's a team effort. Working together is essential in ensuring that we meet the needs of every single student. By pooling our expertise and experiences, we can develop more innovative strategies and approaches to cater to the diverse learning styles and abilities in our classrooms. As one administrator here puts it, we are all on the same bus, riding in the same direction. And to that, I will add, when you begin to feel like you are riding alone, peek over the seats and reach out to a fellow passenger. Through collaboration, we can better identify best practices, adapt our teaching methods, and create truly inclusive learning environments where every student feels valued and supported. We shouldn't be afraid to try new things, to even fail sometimes, and to learn from our mistakes. That is, after all, what we ask our students to do every single day. Beyond the practical benefits, collaborating fosters a sense of belonging and camaraderie among teachers, novice teachers and veteran teachers alike. And it reminds us that we are not alone in this journey, that we have a support system that we can lean on when times get tough. And I think we've all pretty much learned just how tough things can get. We have been tested in ways we've never imagined were possible. From 9/11 to a Great Recession, Superstorm Sandy, the pandemic I have to mention because, and now an educational funding crisis. But when tragedy occurs, what do communities do? They unite, they support each other, and they uplift one another. And as a profession, we frequently acknowledge the trauma that our students have endured, and we work hard and tirelessly to address their social and emotional needs to the best of our abilities. But let's not overlook that we, the adults, we've experienced trauma as well. And we must support each other, look out for one another, and recognize when someone among us needs a little extra care and attention. As we celebrate the commitment of our teachers and ESPs gathered here tonight, let us reflect on the profound impact we all have on the lives of our students. Every day, we have the privileged opportunity to ignite their intellect, nurture their character, and prepare them for the challenges of the future. Let's not underestimate the impact of our collective efforts in guiding them towards success. Let's persist in our pursuit of excellence in the classroom and do everything we can to support each other's professional development. So I'll end with one simple message. Always have the courage to welcome change, be open to fostering growth in yourself and others, and always, always keep learning. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jill. That was beautiful.
At this time, we're going to take a short break and allow you guys to congratulate everyone here tonight and the board on behalf of the Board of Education and Dr. Farrell and the administrators. We are so proud of you. You do such wonderful things every day. Thank you again so much, and congratulations. Enjoy the rest of your evening.
Jim, did you leave it?
Out this door, left and on the right.
Quick left, quick right.
Yes. Awesome, thank you. Brand new. So that they should get you through that, but everything else, go skip that. Get through all the other ones. O&O is done. Property is done. I have to see the emails from me. Not yet, because I printed it so you could see it in case you have changes. Right, the signature page is there, and I have to upload that. So it's, yeah, that's enough. I was supposed to do that. I screwed up on my job.
Good.
And what's your estimate?
Okay, I'm going to ask if all the board members and administrators could return to their seats so we can get started. Okay. We only have Jim Edwards. We'll start with the Finance and Facilities reports, and they're all the reports we have for this evening. Committee reports, correct? Okay. Yeah. Close the doors, please.
Thank you, Ms. Walrab. The Facilities Committee met on May 6th. In attendance, Ms. Bacala, Ms. Walrab, Mr. Mesmer, Ms. McNamara, myself, Mr. Procurio, Mr. Dubovich from FVHD Architects, Ms. Cashman from Spiesel Architects, and Mr. Yor from Netta Architects. First item was Lake Riviera Middle School air conditioning. Mr. Yor informed the committee that the final closeout is still pending the water balancing and closeout documents. Veterans Memorial Middle School boiler replacement and air conditioning. Mr. Yor informed the committee that the work is proceeding, including the transformer pad and trench work, which was completed on May 3rd, 2024, to support the electrical upgrades this summer. Project meetings have commenced as of April 24th, and the switchgear is in the warehouse. We anticipate a 4 to 8 week shutdown of that school for the project. Emma Havens Young Elementary School air conditioning. Mr. Yor informed the committee that they're waiting on the transformers and the electrical gear. Again, the job meetings resumed April 24th, and same in regards to the shutdown of the schools 4 to 8 weeks. Veterans Memorial Elementary School, Mr. Yor informed the committee that the job meetings resumed on April 24th. Again, a 4 to 8 week shutdown period is anticipated, and the switchgear is anticipated to arrive June 14th. Drum Point Elementary School boiler replacements and air conditioning. Mr. Yor informed the committee that we're waiting on the transformers and electrical gear. It's again a 4 to 8 week shutdown. Lanesville Elementary School, Ms. Cashman informed the committee that no work has been performed today, but the building electrical shutdown is confirmed for June 14th. Midstream's air conditioning, Osborneville air conditioning, Warren Wolf air conditioning, and Herbertsville air conditioning. I informed the committee that all 4 schools are still pending the other projects that I just mentioned. Once the contingency funds on those projects is released, we should have the local funding in place to move forward with those projects. Osborneville Elementary School Kitchen Edition. Ms. Cashman informed the committee that the bid opening came back higher than expected, and they're reviewing value engineering options to try to bring the cost down. They anticipate putting the project back out to bid in September for an award for work to commence in the summer of 2025. Brick Township High School Kitchen HVAC. Mr. Procorio informed the committee that Spiesel was awarded the PO to provide the mechanical drawings for permit submission. Hutchinson provided all of the equipment and is on site. Drum Point Elementary School Kitchen HVAC. Mr. Procorio informed the committee that the work is complete and awaiting final startup, which is anticipated the week of May 13th. Parking lot assessment. I informed the committee that the review meeting was held with Mr. Uros and Mr. Kelly of Remington Vernick on May 6th to review the assessment details. Instructions were provided on preparing the final report to include specific needs and a 10-year long-range plan for execution. Midstream's Kitchen, Mr. Yor informed the committee that the design drawings have begun. The site visit was performed on May 3rd, focusing on the interior and the roof. Preliminary drawings will be to the district shortly for review. Brick Township High School track and long jump. Mr. Procorio informed the committee that the work has been completed on the track maintenance pursuant to the PO that was issued to AT&T, the contractor. Mr. Procorio informed the committee that the project for the long jump is included in the 24-25 school year budget, and he will anticipate issuing the purchase order upon approval of the budget for work to be completed at the end of June for completion this summer. SDA Emerging Grant Needs Project. Mr. Procorio informed the committee that the projects identified at Brickmore High School and Veterans-Moore Middle School are currently waiting for the co-op approval, which is on this evening's agenda, and as soon as that's done, the POs will be awarded. And the next meeting is June 12th. Next was the Finance Committee meeting, which was right after with Mr. Mesmer, Ms. Walrab, Ms. Bacala, and myself. The first item we discussed was the 2024-25 budget. I informed the committee that the budget would be placed back on the May 9th agenda for the board's consideration. Next was the community solar and building performance. I informed the committee that DCO Energy has begun working on the utility bill analysis. There was a legal matter that Mr. Montenegro asked me to discuss with the committee that's ongoing. Brick Township facilities, we were looking at different spaces for expansion of preschool. 2024-2025 BEST program budget. Reviewed with the committee the budget prepared by Ms. DiPaolo. I noted the budget includes an increase for the AM monthly fees of $24 a month and the PM monthly fees of $15 a month. Mr. Mesmer did inquire about the preschool offerings for that program. For Mr. Mesmer, that we have looked at that. However, at the current time, it does not appear that the revenues for the preschool program, for the BEST program, would cover the costs, and we also have concerns on staffing. The committee then concurred that the budget should be placed on tonight's agenda for full board consideration. Food service budget. Reviewed the proposed budget with the committee that was prepared by Ms. Richardson. It includes a 10-cent increase in the lunch prices and a 5-cent increase in the breakfast prices. The committee concurred that it should be placed on tonight's agenda. ARP homeless grant amendment. Informed the committee that the district received additional funds that will require an amendment to be submitted to the Department of Education. IDEA grant amendment. I informed the committee that Ms. Granger needs to hire an aide for preschool student rather than utilize funds for out-of-district tuition, and therefore an amendment to the original grant application is required. MOESC participation agreement. I informed the committee that MOESC will be starting a purchasing cooperative and that I recommended the BRIC participate. So that's on this evening's agenda. And new advertising accounts. I informed the committee that Shore District Advertising has brought forth 3 new accounts for consideration. The first was Plymouth Rock for $16,600 for advertising on the website and a banner in each one of the school's staff parking lots. Second was U.S. Army for $1,300 for a banner at each one of the football stadiums. And third was Adamson Veterinary for $5,000 for a sign on the football stadium scoreboard at Brick Township High School. Next meeting is June 12th.
Thank you, Mr. Edwards. First public comment session on agenda items only. This will be the first opportunity for public comment and will be for agenda items only. The board invites thoughts and reactions on agenda items. Each participant is asked to give his or her name prior to making a statement. All statements shall be directed to the presiding officer. The board will not, during the public portion of this meeting, discuss matters involving employment, appointment, termination of employment, negotiations, terms and conditions of employment, evaluation of the performance performance of, promotion, or disciplining of any specific or prospective or current employee and/or student. Do we have anybody for public comment on agenda items? Mr. Finelli, you're up.
Turn the heat up anytime you like. Okay, agenda items. Number 10, the budget. I'm just curious, after the last meeting, I'd like to hear from the 3 people who voted no on the budget, what exactly it would take or what they were looking for to vote yes, what was not there that they wanted. Number 15, the food service budget. Just curious as to 3 items in the food service budget. The first one is you're cutting the payout for perfect attendance by 33%, which I'm assuming for some reason you're not going to have as much perfect attendance. You're cutting it by 33%. You're also cutting the sub-salaries by 33%, and you're also cutting the overtime budget. And I'm just curious, if you're not going to have that good of attendance, how is it you're able to cut those other 2 things? And under human resources, I just want to check some numbers. The list of BTAU teachers is 669, and it lists all their salary. Is that current, up-to-date information? The same thing with teacher aides. The number went up once in the last day, but teacher aides now at 187. Is that number accurate? And just a comment on other districts as to what they're doing to make their budget. And I certainly don't hold up Asbury Park as the sterling example of what a school district should be, but I just noted what they're cutting this year. 2 EL teachers, 6 coaches, and I'm not talking about athletic coaches, I'm talking about academic coaches, 2 special teachers, 3 traditional, 4 teachers, 4 special education teachers, 2 aides, 1 secretary, and the following positions, 4 out of 5 of them are gone forever. They're not just out of one budget, they're not going to have them anymore. First one is the central registrar. The second one is the supervisor of curriculum and instruction. The third one is communications coordinator. The fourth one is director of human resources. And the 5th one is director of special services. Don't shoot the messenger.
Thank you,
My
Mr.
reason to bring it up is they're doing what they have to do. Okay, so you can answer the first couple of questions.
Thank you, Mr. Finelli. Mr. Edwards.
I guess you're doing the
Number 10, budget, food services budget. Jim, do you have all that?
Yeah, so
Okay.
the amounts that are being budgeted, Mr. Richardson feels all of those areas could be reduced because of what's being spent in the current year. So all of those areas are under budget in the current year, so she's reducing them for 24-25.
They're under budget, so you're cutting it because they're doing better?
Correct, in the current year.
Okay, it's a good thing to hear.
Mr. Kleisler, HR numbers?
The BTEA teachers, those are our current employees that we anticipate returning for next year that are tenured.
Okay.
It does not include non-tenured, and it is next year's salaries.
Do you know what the tenured number is, by the way? Untenured, I mean?
It's over 100.
I'm just curious as to why
I can get
everybody
it
else
for
was
you.
on there, but they weren't.
Non-tenured will be approved next month.
Okay, I'll get the number then.
Yep,
Okay, so
absolutely.
the number's accurate.
Number's accurate for currently employed
Teachers.
teachers.
Tenured teachers.
Correct. Vacancies would not be on there because there's no one assigned.
Teachers' aides?
Teacher aides, I did add one that was mistakenly left off that list. That's
So
why
the
it's changed.
number's 187.
That is correct.
That just seemed high to me. I just look at the number and I say, that's one teacher aide for every 3.5 teachers.
Well, it's the entire district, and it does include preschool.
Okay. And my first question was for the 3 people who didn't vote on the school budget.
And what I will do is, if they choose to answer that question at the end in their comment, that's when they can answer it. I'm not going to direct it to them at this point. So they heard your question.
Budget question. It's on the, it's agenda item.
What budget question?
It's a budget. The budget question is number 10 on the agenda tonight. This is a budget question about their voting on the budget. It's the same exact budget as it was last meeting, so they can either choose the answer or they can't, but this is the time for them to do it. This is the budget question. I don't want to use up this time for the end of the meeting when it's an agenda item.
This is not a time, this is public comment time. Now, you've raised the question. At the time of the vote, if they wish to make a statement, they can, they don't have to. Or at the time of board comment, they can make a statement, they don't have to. But during public comment, just because you throw something out there doesn't mean board members have to keep shooting out answers. It doesn't work that way.
You're not giving them the opportunity. I asked the question.
I just said, at the time it comes around for the vote, which would be before the vote, if they wish to make a statement, they can.
Excuse me. I'm not asking about tonight's vote. I'm asking about last meeting's vote. They voted last meeting on the budget. This is a budget question that's on the agenda. I would appreciate at least the opportunity. All three of them can stand up and say, I'm not going to tell you, but at least do it. I'm not talking about tonight. I'm talking about last meeting.
I understand what your question is. At the time of the vote, if they wish to make a statement, they can. But just because during public comment you want to point questions to specific board members, this is not the time for that. If they wish to make that comment, they can. But I am not going to instruct them.
Explain your legal terminology or your legal explanation as to why they can't answer it now, but they can answer it later. Explain that to me in the public.
Because that is how public meetings work. If you wish to look at the agenda, this is a public comment section.
Don't throw that word comment at me. I'm asking a question. It's not just for comments. We pay the bills. We get to ask questions.
Well, this is how the board meetings work. Not just this board meeting, but all board meetings. It is not a public Q&A. It is not a debate. You have 5 minutes to tell the board anything you wish. We try to answer as many questions as we can on agenda items, and later if you have anything else. But just because somebody comes up during public comment and starts instructing questions to various board members, they are not required, nor is that really what public comment is designed for. They heard the question. If they wish to answer it, you will hear the answer. So I don't understand why the problem is when you're going to get it, but that's the answer. You may not like the answer, that's the answer.
I'll tell you what the problem is. You get cut off after 5 minutes here. I'm talking about an agenda item. What I talk about at the end of the meeting may not be agenda items, but this is an agenda item. I'm damn well sure you don't go to every school board meeting, so you can't stand there and tell me every school board works exactly like that, because you don't go to every school board meeting. All I'm doing is I'm not grilling anybody. I'm asking them. They voted. All I want to know is what would it take for them to vote? They voted no. One person talked about class size.
You've asked the question 3 times now.
Yeah,
you've got the you asked the question of them. You asked the question of me. I told you when you will get that answer if they choose to give it. Now you don't like my answer. That's okay. You don't have to. You don't have to like it, but that's the answer.
You're damn right I don't like it, because you're going to decide what part of the agenda I can talk about and what part I can't. This is an agenda item. It's not the end of the thing, and I'll keep saying that till I'm blue in the face. I'm talking about the budget.
Thank you very much. Sit down.
You don't get to dismiss me either. All right.
Your time's up. Let's move to the next person.
You're not the timekeeper either.
That's okay. Mr. Reed's ready to
I don't see anything that says my time is up.
Allie?
So don't give me that stuff.
Thank you.
Anybody else for, yes, Mr. Reed.
I guess I don't have to give my name because I'm notorious or infamous or whatever it is. Is there a 12 o'clock curfew for this meeting tonight? 11? Okay, I'll take that. Not to waste my time, but your time, I should say. Thank you for volunteering, the board members, of course. I believe you should be paid. I don't know who came up with that rule, but the amount of time you have to put in, you should be paid for it. Okay, my first question is on the transfers. There were a lot of 17 pages of transfers tonight, and I had some questions on some of the transfers, the big items where the money went into. The first one was on page 6, emergent capital need, $201,000. Page 8, medical insurance, because we heard about medical insurance, transferred over $864,000. Page 9, non-reimbursed funds, non-reimbursable fund, $50,000. I don't know what that means. And page 11, cafe equipment, $425,000. And on transfers, page 11, ACSERS, which wasn't evidently budgeted for, $181,000. So that would be questions I would hope to get an answer for, just to clarify what they are. The other comments I have on the agenda items relate to the way they're reported on the board secretary's report. And I want to compliment Jim because he got the report out early this month. It wasn't due until after the 15th. So I was harping on that, and I want to compliment him on that. I'm sure he was in there with a whip getting those people to get the report done. So on those, it relates to, you start out with an appropriation, and then you have an expenditure, and then you have an encumbrance, and then you have an available balance. I'm sure the board members are all aware of this. So in some items, I'm a little confused of why there would be encumbrances, okay? So let's take on page, it's towards the end of the report, support services, general administration. So I know we have several areas where there's a legal budget, but this is just for general services. So the budget amount, or I should say the appropriation amount listed for this last report of March is $358,000. The expenditures are $133,000, and the encumbrances are $225,000. So I assume that the legal fees are a result of an hourly billing that has been agreed to in a contract from the board. So that's how you came up with an original budgeted amount or appropriation amount. And the expenditures today, we're about 3/4 of the way through the school year, are $133,000 out of that $358,000. But then there's an encumbered amount of $225,000. So does that mean you already have billable hours that have been submitted to the board? If so, what are they? You know, how could we have billable hours submitted already that haven't occurred? So, you know, in an effort to find monies for teachers, you have to look at a lot of other areas like workman's comp. We worked on that a number of years ago. It's saving the district a lot of money each year. And now you need to focus on health benefits. So when the board is focused on getting money from the state, and it's in the 14 million range as opposed to the 17 million range, and then you have health benefits, which with the transfers now are up to $31 million, you got to start focusing on things you have some control over. So when you go to negotiate health benefits, I understand collective bargaining, but you have to figure out, what are we going to have? Are we going to have this platinum healthcare system, or are we going to have teachers? Because the students can't be taught without the teachers. And I'm guessing that the people that voted against the budget is because there's too much money in this budget that has to be looked at more closely, and the teachers are the fall guy in this whole process. Thank you. Any answers to my question?
Yes. Mr. Edwards?
He's on it. He's on it. Give him a minute.
Yeah, give me a second there. Thank you. So I was trying to mentally remember. I didn't have a piece of paper in front of me. The transfer numbers again, because I know I could answer them for you. But you started on page 6, correct?
Yes. The emergent capital need, 200,000?
Right. So that's an SDA grant that we got from. So when you see the account number, when it starts with a 20, 20 is a grant account. So that's a grant that we got from the SDA. Was approved at the, I want to say February meeting. It's what we're doing. We're doing HVAC work at both Brick Memorial High School and Veterans Memorial High School.
Okay.
That's a grant. The next one, I believe you mentioned the
Medical.
cafeteria.
Well, go ahead.
Well, first you mentioned the cafeteria
Equipment.
number. Right, yeah. So that's the capital project that we're doing at Midstreams. We're putting a kitchen expansion on there. And that when you see 60 as the account number, that means it's cafeteria operations, which is its own proprietary fund. Then you mentioned the medical insurance, which we talked about before, the increase that we have in medical. That $864,000 is the stabilization funds that we received, that we put into the medical account because of the shortage that we are projecting there for the end of the year. And then your next question, I believe, was on, I thought you said 10?
ACERS or
Yeah,
whatever.
so ACERS, that's money that, again, that's in Fund 20 that we're getting reimbursed. I think that law occurred during COVID, correct, Ms. Granger? That's, yeah, so students who are being educated above 21 years old until they're 24, and we get reimbursed for that cost of educating them from 21 to 24. So that's what that fund is. So that's, again, a grant that came to the district.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. In regards to the legal fees, so at the June of this year, so it'll be the next meeting, we're going to appoint the attorneys. We appoint them on an estimated number of hours for the year. That number gets encumbered, so that's what the encumbrance is. That's what the estimated number was, and then when they get bills, we pay off of those encumbrance, so that's the actual. There is a significant difference this year. Ms. Granger can be thanked for most of that. So in the special education litigation, we had a board approved $168,000 for that attorney at the beginning of the year. To date, we've spent $19,000. So there's a significant difference. That amount is then, when we do our surplus calculation for the 24-25 budget, we take into consideration where we think things are going to end at the end of the year. So that amount has already been considered in the 24-25 surplus for the end of June 30th. So it does flow into the 24-25 budget.
Okay, so for the general services, which would be covered here,
it's all legal fees that are in that account. So you've got your labor counsel, your general counsel, special.
all that is in that one account?
Correct.
Okay, so most of it is estimates. You really don't have bills that are in the encumbered.
Right. Well, we know what we've gotten
estimate.
through March, and so that we
Right.
project out for the remaining 3 months, and we think that we're going to have a significant amount of money flow out of that account. We think that we're going to have $199,000 available that will flow out, and that money has been included in our estimate for the 24-25 surplus.
But as of the end of March, we have zero available.
It's all tied up in the encumbrances.
Okay, so you're
So those-
projecting
yeah, right.
there
So when
will
the
be some...
So when the money doesn't get spent, those encumbrances then lapse into surplus.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Reed. Any other
Yeah, I don't have to
public
wait.
comment on agenda? Yes.
Good evening. My name's, excuse me, Charles Bacon, and I just want to say good evening to the board and the administrators, and I hope Dr. Farrell's on a fast recovery. A couple of comments I wanted to make after last budget meeting that I heard, and just want to confirm some numbers. The public meeting comment on the budget, I believe, should be held sooner next year. So the residents have a right to ask questions and potentially might make some alterations to the budget. So having the budget meeting basically the day before the budget date, it's kind of like, what's the point of doing that? The PowerPoint presentation, I appreciated the time and effort that went in it. What would be very helpful for a lot of us is if we could get that in advance next year for the budget, so we can kind of review those numbers a little bit and help digest that. And another thing I would recommend for next year as well is the potential of a Citizens Budget Advisory Committee. There's many talented business people in the town, and Mr. Reed is very knowledgeable in a lot of these areas, that would be willing to look at the budget, and I do respect and understand the sensitivity of some of the personnel matters that are involved in that, which would have to be de-identified. But again, it's just another set of eyes with the amount of work that goes on. Now, some of my comments that I heard a couple weeks ago that, and one of them in particular, it seemed like the teacher ratio at the grade school level, a teacher per student was a little bit high. And something I think needs to be addressed potentially with an action plan is to see if we can get some of those a little bit more support level down in the grade school levels and maybe increase the ratio of a teacher to students in the high school as they prepare to go into more advanced studies. There was a lot of comments made about the budget and the problems that you're faced with. Totally respect and understand that. And a lot of it centered around S2, obviously, since 2018 and the challenges you have there. And there's a couple things I do want to get on the record about S2 that I think are important. And we've heard a lot of these things. Obviously, you've had to deal with it since July of 18. And there was a lot of comments made between the Governor, Murphy at the time, and Senator Sweeney about our fair share in our district and the funding formula. And it was modified, I think, in part of our declining enrollment. And Mr. Edwards, I want to thank you for your comment. I do realize that this was one of the districts that sued. And from what I understood that you said 2 weeks ago was that, yes, the formula was released, but there's some type of special program that is really needed to read it, and we don't have that program. At least that's the way I understood it. And there's other things, and I believe, and I might have even stated this a couple of weeks ago, and I've stated in public in other sessions, I firmly believe it was done out of malice and not fairness. And then there's a lot of things that have been out in the public domain as well about some of that reallocation of that funding money that didn't seem to make sense. And my concern about the funding formula not being fully exposed so you can review it is, my first reaction to that is they're hiding something. And the other thing that really bothered me, I got to be honest with you, going back on October 29th of 2021, 4 days before the election, the re-election of Governor Murphy, he actually awarded $6.5 million to BRIC. So to me, that looks like a political play in front of an election that was pretty tight at the time. And it kind of is, to me, a stunt that proves the S2 legislation was, in my opinion, nonsense. Now, a couple other things that came up last week or 2 weeks ago, which I appreciate, and I heard some things, and I call it ELL enrollment. I don't know if that's the correct terminology we use, but it seemed like over the last few years we went from 90 to 600 ELL students. And it was also confirmed, Dr. Anderson, and I believe we have 18 different languages circulating in the district. All right. So when I hear things like that, it's a challenge for our educators, our support staff to properly support these students. And one of the things that if it's
You could
okay,
just finish your thought.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Was the Title III funding that is needed around the immigrants, right? And I also heard, I believe our special needs enrollment has increased and requires additional funding too. In closing, this is what I say you should demand from our state legislators as well as our senator, is to demand a meeting with Senator Booker and Governor Murphy's administrative staff. They should be in this district, in public, so folks like you can speak to them, parents and other people in the township. I think that's extremely important. And if they do not honor that, then I think you should get this at an elevated social media level. Thank you for the extended time. Enjoy the rest of your evening.
Thank you. Any other public comment? And I'm sorry, Jim, did you want to make any comments on that?
No, I didn't hear any questions. He really
Okay,
made
I
some
just
comments.
wanted to make
There wasn't
sure if there was
that he saying.
anything. Okay. Any other public comment? Yes.
Good evening. Susanna Bergfeld, 49 Neal Avenue. I have questions regarding class sizes from the budget presentation. Is this an appropriate time? Okay. Please don't mind me. I'm reading off my phone. Unfortunately, I was unable to attend the last meeting, but I did have a few questions pertaining to the information provided. My questions revolve around classroom sizes. The table shown within the budget presentation laid out the proposed classroom sizes for the next academic school year across all elementary schools, some of which exceed well over 30 students in a classroom. It's my understanding that classroom sizes are up to the superintendent's discretion. Is that accurate? If so, then I asked Dr. Farrell if he feels as though these classroom sizes are acceptable and conducive to meeting the needs of our children. It was made very apparent that the majority of you also do not agree with these significant class sizes. So I beg of you to find a better solution for our kids, and I hope that my questions encourage you to think just beyond the number itself. What current supports do you have in place in the elementary setting to assist classroom teachers in meeting the needs of all learners? Gifted and talented, struggling learners, those with behavioral concerns, ML students. Will these supports be in place for the next academic school year? And then what additional supports will you be putting in place to help assist classroom teachers in meeting the academic, social, and emotional needs of all learners as you're increasing their class sizes substantially? What is the fire code maximum occupancy for these classrooms? Having been inside these elementary schools, I can't imagine that these classrooms are built to hold such a vast number of students at one time. Currently, and I think another gentleman spoke on this, but how do we hire substitute teachers? Is it currently through a separate company or do we do it in-house? And what is the current percentage of teacher absences that are filled through substitutes on a daily basis? If a classroom teacher is absence is not filled, how is the absence then covered? If the use of other classroom teachers or support teachers is used, how will the needs of their students be met? I can imagine that with class sizes as large as you are projecting, that teacher burnout will occur much earlier in the academic year than previous years. In the previous meeting, Dr. Farrell had mentioned that if he could, he would hire a VP for each of the elementary schools to assist with discipline and HIBs. The HIB process is quite extensive, if you're unfamiliar, which I'm sure you're not, and requires an investigation each time an accusation is made. With growing class sizes, it's pretty safe to assume that the number of HIB cases will likely increase. Who will assist the principals, and I assumed the guidance counselors, in these investigations? If our guidance counselor's time is inundated with HIB investigations, how will he or she be there to assist our students in other ways? I ask all of these questions because I have had nothing but amazing experiences with the teachers and staff members I've encountered thus far in my short time as a parent within the district. I ask the questions because these individuals are the direct line to our children receiving the best education that we as a district can provide to them. These classroom sizes are just unacceptable. As an educator myself in elementary school setting, I can't fathom how our teachers would be able to continue to make the impact that they're making now without additional support. Even the best of the best educators would have difficulty meeting the needs of all these learners, as I said, without some of the additional supports in place. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. McNamara?
Thank you, Mrs. Walrab. And you're right, we would love to see smaller class sizes. Unfortunately, with the financial restraints we have, our class sizes have risen. And it really is part of an entire picture that we have to look at in terms of balancing those class sizes. The one class size that we have to hold to by law is at kindergarten. We cannot go above 25. In terms of the other class sizes, that's related to the number of teachers we can afford to put at each level. And those teachers are then based upon their different certifications and the needs of the children in those classrooms. So if a classroom needs to have a regular education teacher as well as a special education teacher, or a regular education teacher and an ELL teacher, we do provide those. But again, the financial cliff that we're experiencing has reduced the number of staff members we can provide at each of the levels. In terms of support, I have to say that Dr. Anderson and her curriculum and instruction supervisors and coaches do an amazing job. They've implemented the multi-tiered systems of support for all teachers to be trained in that model and to provide those supports across the board to all students, regardless of their needs. And those supports have been put in place and are doing very, very well. In terms of our ELL staff, they've been trained significantly, and we've also begun to train all of our teachers in the sheltered instruction model so that they have support for giving to those students who have risen from 90 to almost 600 at this time. Your question about HIB, each school does have an HIB specialist, and you're right, it is one of the counselors. We've also trained all of our administrators, and we've trained some lead teachers as well. So while we would love to have more counselors at each level, once again, the finances don't allow for that. We try to give as much support and time to each of our administrators and each of our counselors, and we support them with a district person in terms of HIB as well. So when they are feeling as though they can't accomplish all they need to accomplish, we do have a district HIB specialist who then goes to the building and provides that kind of support. Our support coverage for substitutes is an outside company. We have experienced a little bit better coverage this year, but as you know, there is a national substitute shortage. It's not just in Brick, it's not just in New Jersey, it's across the board. So we are all experiencing that substitute coverage problem, challenge, however you'd like to look at it. We've worked very hard to recruit. I have to commend Mr. Kleisler and the HR team for continuing to put out for substitutes to come on board at Brick. We try to be a very welcoming and inviting learning community so that more people come. Anybody listening wants to sign up to be a sub, we use ESS. We would love for you to come. We think we run a wonderful educational learning environment here, and we would welcome folks to come on board as substitutes. When we don't have a sub, it is covered internally, mostly during times when staff has prep, so we are not taking away from the instructional time in the classroom. I think that I hit all of your points. You did ask about fire codes. We are bound to those fire codes. I'm going to let Mr. Edwards speak a little bit more to that. Mr. Edwards?
Yeah, there's a square footage per room that you're bound by, so certain rooms certainly can't hold 40 kids, other rooms can. So, I mean, we have to take that in consideration when doing the planning.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Any more public comment? Okay, seeing none, I'm going to close that. Dr. Anderson, curriculum and instruction.
Thank you, Mrs. Walrab. The superintendent recommends that the board approve the following items 1 through 3.
I need a motion and a second.
Motion, Nicole.
Second, Fran.
Any board comment? Seeing none, Mary?
Ms. Seaver?
Yes.
Ms. Kennedy?
Yes.
Ms. DeBenedictis?
Yes.
Ms. Iannarone?
Yes.
Mr. Mesmer?
Yes.
Ms. Bacala?
Yes.
Ms. Walrab?
Yes. Mr. Edwards, operations.
Yes, thank you. Superintendent recommends items 1 through 20.
I need a motion and a second.
Motion, Victoria. Second, Fran.
Any board comment?
Yes. I looked through everything. I've been on the Finance Committee for years, and I'm really stunned with numbers 15 and 16, the food service budget and lunch prices that Janine Richardson handles for our children, and the program she runs, and the support she gets, and each year it brings surpluses in from how successful her budget program is. And I just want to say that that's so good for the district, and the same could be said for the best budget on number 16. As far as number 10, the budget, this is a balanced budget achieved by much hard work and careful consideration of our administration and staff and principals and teachers and support teachers and our students. And as a board, we make cuts. The priority for our superintendent is to make cuts that have the least impact on students, teachers, and programs. So I would urge everybody to support this balanced budget tonight.
Any other board comment?
Yeah, I want to make a comment.
Go ahead, Mike.
On the question, would this be the time to answer the question? So why I voted no for the budget at the last meeting, basically, besides the reasons I gave at the last meeting, was I wanted to bring awareness at a state level that I don't agree with the amount of funding and the amount of energy and effort they're providing this district. I think we're getting shortchanged.
Thank you, Mike. Any other board comment?
I have one. It's Fran.
Go ahead.
Yep. So it's on 10 as well. We as board members are supposed to vote on a balanced budget. Well, I'm here not just for the money, I'm here for the people. These are students, these are teachers, these are taxpayers, and 37, 38 kids in a class with one teacher, that's not balanced. We are now, as was said, this is May, this is mental health awareness. Our kids do not have the proper mental health right now. They are in a horrible state. So what do? We cut the funding for mental health. We did. And this is not balance. There is no balance because money, unfortunately, yes, we need the money for our schools to work, but we also need the people. And I'm tired, I'm sorry, I'm so over having dollars and cents running everything. We have to be able to look at people and not just zeros and decimals and commas. These are humans. And if we just need to scream out, as Mike said, we need to be heard. Our kids need to be heard. We have screwed them over for 4 years. And what are we doing? We're doing it again. We're doing it again. It is messed up what we're doing for a future generation, and I'm done. We need to stand up for our teachers. We need to stand up. Even if you don't have kids here, if you don't have students here, okay. Do you know how much our great school rating has gone down? I moved here in 2019. The school was an 8. We're now down to like a 4. What is that going to do when you're trying to resell your home? Nobody's going to want to buy a house in a 4. We need to do better. And for that, we need to do better. We need to be better.
Any other board comment?
I also have something I'd like to say.
Mm-hmm.
I voted no for a number of reasons. There's no way we should have 38 to 40 children. I'm sorry. There's no way we should have 38 to 40 children in a classroom. There's no way. We're supposed to be giving a thorough and efficient education. There's no possible way to do that with that in many different languages. We also have teachers who have behaviors in their classrooms. We are throwing this on our teachers. It's ridiculous. The amount of students, you just can't give an education. I know our teachers are fabulous. Look at all of them. They're wonderful. They're hard workers. Don't blame it on the teachers. But the stress that they're getting is ridiculous. And I had a lengthy conversation today with someone who told me that when they spoke to someone in the state or the county, that we didn't have an answer how to change the budget. I would have had an answer of what changes I wanted in the budget if I was told before the meeting that's what I could do. We were not informed that we could give our ideas. And when I said that, well, I was told that's bad on me. No, it is bad on you. And it's bad for the children, and it's bad for the teachers. It's bad for the taxpayers in this town. What they've come up with is an assembly bill where, in order to make our budget or give us more money, is to increase our taxes 9.9% without a vote on it, that they can just do that. I don't want my taxes raised another 9.9% to balance the budget. There is money in the state. We deserve it. We need to beg for it or do whatever we have to do because we need those teachers. You could say whatever you want. Shame on you if you think that 40 children in a classroom, even in the most informative years that kids need an education, it's not going to happen. Our test scores stink, but we're working hard on trying to get them up there. They've gotten every program they can. Dr. Anderson is doing everything she can. But it's impossible to teach that many students in a classroom. And it's impossible, even for the most wonderful teacher, to make sure that those students get an education. That's why I voted no. And so that my taxes don't go up. But unfortunately, if it gets passed, they could do what they want, up to 9.9%. That's why. Thank you.
Anyone else?
On number 12 and number 13, the donations from ExxonMobil and Brick School's cafeteria program from an anonymous donor. I just wanted to say thank you for those donations. I wanted to welcome our new people to the board meeting tonight. It's always nice seeing new faces. And every budget cycle that we sit through, and it's really different for me to sit here than it was for me to sit there a few years ago, brings out new people with new passions, and I hope that we can direct the passion to Trenton where they need to do some things to help us. I want to thank our administration for doing the best that they can with what we are handed, but in the meantime, please take your passion and your frustrations and your anger and bring them to Trenton. That's where we have to make things happen. Thank you.
Anyone else? Did we get everybody? Okay. Mary?
Ms. Siebert?
Yes.
Ms. Kennedy?
Yes.
Ms. DeBenedictis?
Yes on everything except for number 10, which is the budget. That is a no.
Ms. Iannarone?
I abstain from number 5, 213150, 213185, 213238, 213279, and also on number 20, and no on number 10, the budget.
Mr. Mesmer?
No on 10, yes on everything else.
Ms. Bacala?
Yes.
Ms. Walrab?
Yes. Mr. Kleisler, Human Resources.
Thank you, Ms. Walrab. Tonight, under Human Resources, the superintendent recommends items number 1 through 37 for approval.
I need a motion and a second.
Motion, Victoria.
Second, Ally.
Any board comment?
I just wanted to comment on Human Resources number 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15. This is the hiring of our staff for the coming year, our tenured staff. And I'd just like to say you are all worth your weight in gold. Thank you for making our students first every day and meeting their needs. Mr. Kleisler, I just wanted to say this is a really full agenda, and you're really stepping it up these days.
Any other board comment? Seeing none, Mary?
Ms. Seaver?
Yes.
Ms. Kennedy?
Yes.
Ms. DeBenedictis?
Yes.
Ms. Iannarone?
Yes.
Mr. Mesmer?
Yes.
Ms. Bacala?
Yes.
Ms. Walrab?
Yes. Second public comment section. This is the second opportunity for public comment. Each participant is asked to give his or her name prior to making a statement. All statements shall be directed to the presiding officer. Comments shall be limited to 5 minutes, and each speaker may only speak once. The board will not, during the public portion of this meeting, discuss matters involving employment, appointment, termination of employment, negotiations, terms and conditions of employment, evaluation of the performance of, promotion, or disciplining of any specific or prospective or current employee and/or students. Do we have anybody for public comment? Yes.
I actually got up to avoid the frostbite, but it is cold in here, I'm telling you. Anyway, John Sluka, 950 Sylvia Court. I just have a couple quick questions, mainly it's your area, so if you don't mind. Oh. You mentioned you need substitute teachers. Last time they mentioned they needed substitute bus drivers. What do they get paid? Can you make it so people know it instead of just saying you need it? Because, I mean, you know, I don't know what they get paid and how they get paid or what they get paid, you know. That's really what it is. I know we have a shortage, but basically those two areas. It's not the teachers, it's not the regular bus drivers, it's the substitutes that we're short, I guess. Okay? Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comment? Mr. Finelli?
First of all, thank you for sharing. It's all I asked. I'm sure the attorney's not happy that you did that, but he doesn't get to run the school board meetings. He gets to advise on legal matters only, and I don't want to hear from you. Thank you. I don't want to hear from you. Legal matters only.
Just to be clear, I told you you would get your answer if they chose. They did not have to respond to that. They do not have to explain their vote.
You don't have to respond either.
They do not have to explain their vote.
And you don't have to
at any
respond
time.
either.
Okay. Thank you.
A quick comment. First of all, there was a lot of discussion on class size. During the budget presentation, a comment was made, the average class size for classes 1 through 5 is approximately 30 students for all of the schools. That was in the presentation. Not exactly an accurate statement. If you look at the averages for grade 1, it comes out to 28.3. If you look at grade 2, it comes out to 28.6. Now, by the way, I realize averaging averages isn't a pure science, but it's close enough. If you look at grade 3, the average is 28.5. When you look at grade 4, the average is 29.2. And when you look at grade 5, the average is 31.1. So only one grade level in the whole school district is at or above 30. The rest are below 30, and 3 of them are below 29. So keep that in mind. Secondly, when you're talking about class size, you got to have all the kids in class to make that size, and you are so far away from that, it really shouldn't even be a discussion. Secondly, last meeting I was talking about absence. I'm not sure how far I got with my presentation, but I'll just summarize. I talked about the 21% of the students missing over 18 days a year. It's 1,641 students. I went over the schools with the students that missed between 11 and 15 days. The best school was 42%, and the worst school was 54%. So keep them numbers in mind. Anybody know what 1,829 days represents on the school performance report? No, I know you don't. 1,829 days, 12,803 hours. School days missed due to out-of-school suspensions. You are creating your own problem. I read that number again because it's astronomical. 1,829 days missed because the kids were sent home. I don't know what you think that's fixing, but it's sure creating a problem with your absence. You might want to review that and look at it. Last but not least, a couple of questions. We talked about absence. I'm curious as to, Dr. Farrell was here last time. He mentioned that was year 2023. Okay, so how are we doing this year? This year, school year is almost over. How are we doing in absence this year? Question number one. Question number two, this is just a comment. 5 years ago, when we talked about minority teachers, somebody on the school board asked the question, how many minority teachers? We had 3%. Commitment was made, we're going to do a better job. Well, guess what? 5 years later, we're still at 3%. No change. And last but not least, I guess this is a question for Mr. Edwards. If in fact the courtesy busing has to go on the ballot to get rid of it, and we've known for 7 years about S2, and we're spending money on busing that you really don't have to spend on busing, courtesy busing, you're not legally required to do. So how come it's not been on the ballot in the last 4 or 5 years to get rid of that courtesy busing? Because you can't afford it. Then 3 questions. Absence. No, actually 2 questions. Absence and the busing thing.
Mr. Edwards, do you want to start?
Sure. That wouldn't be my decision to make. If that would be really something that would come from the board. If the board wanted to pose a question back to the community, and no board has ever brought that they wanted to bring that question back.
I didn't direct the question to you, she did.
Yeah, so I mean, the question was something that was passed in 2007, if I'm going off memory here, and 2007, they're saying, yeah. So, I mean, that would be a question that would have to come back from the board to say we want to put that back out to the voters.
Then I presented as something to think about. I mean, you're paying for busing that you don't have to pay and you don't have the money.
Okay. Oh my goodness, Ms. McNamara. Sorry, absences for this year.
Thank you, Mrs. Walrath. Mr. Finelli, we're currently looking at all of our absence data for the year. We believe that we've made that a goal for us in district over the next several years is to improve attendance of our students. And we believe we are trending in a positive direction, but I want to refrain from giving you an actual number until I have collected all of the data for the year and can present that to Dr. Farrell and the board.
Okay. So what I'm hearing you not say is, although you have a very serious absence problem, it's really not being tracked until the end of the year.
That's not correct. That's not what I said. You're incorrect.
Say what you said.
What I said was that the data we have to date is trending in a positive direction, but until I have all of the data with all of the administrators working on it, and we have a final number for the 23-24 school year, I will refrain from giving you that number until I've had an opportunity to examine the data, present it to Dr. Farrell and to the Board of Education. At that time, I will happily present you with where we've landed for the 23-24
trending in a
school year.
positive direction?
We're trending in a positive direction. That's the best I'm going to do.
Tells me nothing.
I'm sorry you feel that way.
Nothing.
Thank you, Mr. Finelli.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Finelli.
I've got one other comment, and then I'm done, all right?
Last one.
I've said this before, and I'll say it till I'm blue in the face. You have a $162 million budget. You get to decide how that money gets spent, all $162 million of it. You knew what S2 was coming, you knew what cuts were coming, yet you still find yourself where you want to complain about class size, but you decide how you're going to spend that money. You decide every dime how that's going to get spent. You decide when to hire teachers. You decide when to give pay raises, when you shouldn't give pay raises, and everything else. It's on you, right? I understand budget cuts, but you got what you got. That's it. That's what
Okay,
got to
thank you,
work
Mr.
with.
Finelli.
And you're not doing it.
Any other public thank you, that was the time. Any other, yes?
Sorry, it is cold. I actually wrote what I was going to say down this time.
Fine.
I'm sorry, my name is Kristen Sturts, by the way.
Thanks.
And it may sound like a little bit of a broken record because a lot of the points I wanted to talk to you about tonight have been said, and I actually want to make sure that it's known.
I can't
that
hear
end of
you.
the board over there.
Go for it.
That end of the board over there, I appreciate all of your answers. Thank you so much. I think we do have a lot of same viewpoints, and this is going to sound like a broken record. Well, I do understand there are challenges with the continuing of budget cuts due to S2. I do struggle to see what alternative solutions have been made to ease these hardships, except for another year of substantially cutting faculty. I'm not going to ignore that this is a very challenging hand that you guys have been dealt and the misappropriation of how funds are being dispersed throughout the state. But our teachers are the ones that have been facing these repercussions of these cuts for years, and they continue to show up each and every day to provide the best educational experience for our children. Whew, sorry. We cannot continue to accept these larger class sizes as a norm. This will not only end up burning out both of our students, but our staff. The next paragraph I'm going to omit because I know we're not going to talk about who you are and who you are not firing. It's a sensitive subject to me. But I must say it's a little upsetting when we have teachers that are special education certified, when we know this is going to be a growing trend amongst our students. It's been proven time and time again. I don't even understand why they're even up for consideration of possibly losing their jobs. I couldn't imagine, because my son is in one of these classes, and he's been in this class from first grade through fifth, and he's heading into middle school. And I don't know if we could have made the progress we did without these amazing teachers. One of them tonight who won the award for Teacher of the Year, Ms. Kowaleski. I cannot thank her, Ms. Schmidt, Ms. Nobel, Ms. Peltz, all of them for everything they have done. Okay. Oh, sorry, this is just hard. And when I looked at that presentation, people are focusing on the number of the classroom sizes. In that bottom right-hand corner, it said average 38. That means there's potentially even more. 40. I can't understand how one teacher, even some with paraprofessionals, could have to put up with not only being able to teach our students adequately, but then they have to deal with the classifications, the IEPs, the behavioral issues. We're going to lose really great teachers if these things don't change. And I don't really know what that solution is. It's not going to be changed in a day, but something has to happen. So I ask you this, since our last meeting on April 25th, what changes have you guys made as a board to our state to start putting some plans in motion, or what you've guys done as a board locally here to start making these changes happen? Because we have really great teachers that don't even send their own children to brick schools that live in this district. They go to Catholic schools, they go to private schools. They don't even want their own children here. What else can be done? And I was a really, I came a lot to the meetings when my son was at Herbertsville when S2 started, and I didn't come for a long time, and that's shame on me. And I will make a better effort of coming to and informing parents at our own school and even our faculty to try and attend, because I think everybody deserves a voice, and I don't think like teachers should feel like they can't come to this out of repercussions of possibly losing their job for speaking and having an opinion. If something doesn't change, I feel that our people are hopeless, that our elected officials should be inspiring and enforcing change for the better of our school district. And if that means us coming together as a community to do so, even though we do have differences of opinion on certain topics, I would like to help in hopefully move that trend forward. Sorry, that is all.
Thank you. Any other, yes, Mr. Reed.
Okay, we do this all the time when it comes to the budget, and it gets back to the state. Okay, I talk about the property tax relief fund, the history. I think I mentioned it before. So you know about it, and I handed out 2 sheets at the last meeting that showed you where all the $20 billion goes to the different departments down in Trenton. And the second page showed you if you wanted to move $2 billion over to something else, other than where they're spending it now, where that $2 billion would come from. Okay, so you're into education, I'm into education. I have a 501c3 public educational charity that I started about 3 years ago now, and I have to get the message out. So all the people that should be in here that are parents, PTA people, they're not here. So how do I get the message to them that the only way they're going to change this is if they have a different governor? Why is that? Because the governor sets the budget for the state. He has a lot of power in New Jersey. He sets the budget. So it's a political thing. He sets the budget. He has line item veto. So all the misspending, I'm going to call it misspending rather than pork projects, which they really are, to get reelected, because everybody in Trenton wants to get reelected. They don't care, that the class sizes are going up astronomically. So it's really an educational process. So there's not enough of us to make a difference. The people themselves across the state have to realize that the property tax relief fund monies are $20 billion. I spoke to somebody last week that was at an event for PTA sponsored by the New Jersey School Boards Association, and they didn't believe there was any such fund that was $20 billion. Okay? So nobody knows about this fund. I've been talking about it for 3 years. Nobody knows about this fund. So how do we get the message out? How do I speak and you fill this room to make the message? I'll speak to any group, any size, anytime, anywhere. So that's the challenge I give to you. So you don't have to go through this every year. You need a new governor that talks to the property tax relief fund and brings it to the educational schools that need it. This is ridiculous. It's absurd. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comment? Yes.
Bren Swanson. I never miss a PTA meeting, but I always do it virtually. I don't have anything to say that hasn't really been said tonight, but I do think that when you see something that's drastically wrong, you have to say something. I'm definitely thankful to there's a handful of very special teachers in this district that have made huge impacts on my children, and they're very much thriving because of them, and they're the ones that are going to take this hit, which they're just not. They're just not. That's not the way it should be. The people who are sitting at this table, I thank you for everything you do. It was mentioned at the last meeting that are there administrations that are taking raises this year? And no one answered that question. It was just kind of like pushed under the rug.
I'm sorry.
The administration, are they getting raises and then teachers are getting fired? Are there people?
Everybody, these are all negotiations with unions. So yes, there are union contracts in place that teachers, all of our TWU, all of our unions have it within their contracts that they get increases. Yes.
I understand that that's just the way it is, but it shouldn't be just the way it is under circumstances like this. I just don't think that that's fair. My other question is, I had a fourth grader last year with 31 kids in their class, and I was a class mom. You could not walk in that class. When we had a party, you physically could not do anything in that class. There were backpacks on the floor. There was not enough places to hang coats. Coats were on the floor. It was a disaster. What is the square footage if you're looking at making it larger than 31? I mean, it was such an issue that now that got broken up. Those fifth grade classes became 20-something. But now you're backpedaling. So what is the square footage for the fire laws? Because physically, I saw last year, it was not possible to fit that many desks and that many backpacks and that many kids in a classroom. That's one question.
If you want to keep asking, then I'll have
I
an
don't
answer.
really have a lot of questions.
Okay.
I just know that when something's not right, you should say something, and this is just not right.
It's not right, and we've said a lot of things to
Yeah.
the state. We were out there years,
packed with
we were
saying
out there
it's not right.
years ago.
And the
We,
fact that there's only like 10 of
Yeah.
us in here is sad.
we went out, listen, up until the last 2 or 3 years, there were parents that would come in here that would say, how did I didn't know anything about this. What do you mean you're losing all this money? There was 20 articles from one newspaper, another 20, 15. I mean, I had actually asked the reporters how many articles that they wrote on S2. We took a trip
No,
down
I've
to
known
Trenton.
about it.
You know,
I'm not
I know you
surprised. I'm
have.
like,
I'm just
wow,
saying
oh my
there's
gosh,
a lot there were a lot of people in the community that had no idea of the money that we were losing. And this was before they even started it. We knew it was coming. We knew it was coming. So, none of us like this. I have children and grandchildren in the district. You think I don't like it either.
I'm just saying
But
that if it's like the right thing. I mean, maybe I understand there's unions, and I understand, you're all working hard, but so are these teachers. So, to say, you know what, I'm cool, I'm not going to take a raise this year just so we can have 3 more teachers, that might be the right thing to do. Even though you have a contract and even though you have a union, it just might be the right thing. And sometimes it's nice to just do the right thing.
Well, being that there is a contract, we can't force anybody to do anything. So if anybody would like to volunteer a portion of their salary back, I mean that would be wonderful.
It could maybe come
But-
back around to you. I know plenty of corporations that people who own the company, they just forgo it. I mean, it isn't like they're not going to get it, but eventually it'll have to level out. But
that would
throw the
also have
kids
to
under
be,
the bus and have 38
Mr. Edwards, that would also have to be opening up contracts and negotiating that again. So, I mean.
It's just not, something's got, I understand.
I understand.
But it's nice, we can all just say, oh, well, that's just where the chips fell. I don't.
Nobody's saying that.
No,
But
yeah,
it is what
nobody's
it is.
saying that.
It's just that this is what we're saying. It is what it is. No one can seem to do anything about it. So
we have done a lot of things, and Dr. Farrell actually just recently went back to, I've spoken in front of the Senate committee. Mr. Edwards has spoken in front of the Senate committee. Dr. Farrell went down just in the last month and a half and spoke in front of the committee, and quite honestly, they were, if you watch it, it was online. Did you see
so many
it?
other districts.
Yeah.
Stafford's losing 90 teachers. No one's listening in.
No, because they say we're not paying our fair share, and that we should be paying, the community should be paying, the taxpayer should be paying more. So they're saying no. This is, there are many, and I always say I can't be concerned so much of what other districts are doing, but there are other districts in Ocean County that, they're having quite the hit this year.
I know.
Quite the hit this year.
Yeah, no, it's so we and even though this is so devastating, but when you look at some of the others, it's like we're not even the worst, which isn't the answer either.
No, it's not.
Like, hey,
Listen,
it could be worse. That's not the answer either.
Part of 85% of our budget, Jim, what's the exact number of our budget is salary? About 85, right? About 85% of our budget is salary. People, because that's what we need. It's the people teach our children, and, we talk about them learning in a classroom with these sizes. My biggest concern is, and I felt with, my son has been in this district since preschool. He's now an 11th grader. And I think one of the things that I've loved more, like you, is the fact that these teachers are fabulous. The things that they've done. I was told my son would never speak. You can't get him to shut up, He loves to go to school, loves it every day, loves to go to school. But Mr. Finelli, when he gets sick, he's out for 12 days. That's just the type of child that I have. Doesn't get sick often, but usually when he does, it hits him hard. But when you look at these class sizes, what concerns me even more is a big part of what these teachers do and want to do, because they're here because they love children, they love education. This is what they love to do. And what really aggravates me about this is, how do these teachers who have gotten to know our children because they happen to be in a smaller classroom, how do these teachers actually get to know the kids in the way that they want to know the kids, and notice things and engage in things and really help them, not just on the academic level, but in so many different levels. And you are absolutely right. We are asking and putting a ton on our teachers. And it's not fair. It's not fair. In a perfect world, I'd love to get back to 15 to 20 students in the classroom. We got them down there when 20 to 22. Sorry, 20 to 22. That would be wonderful. And we've asked, and we've went down, and we were there with signs. It was me, one or two other board members, and a couple of principals, and I think there were some busloads of students, and I think there was one other community member. One. And we put that out, we put everything out, and it was in the papers, and it was everything. One. So the state's ignoring us. They say we should be paying a bigger portion of our share. And they're ignoring us. And we make phone calls, and he makes phone calls, and emails, and everything. But they are ignoring us. They do not believe that we need that money. And if we need that money, we should be giving it back to the taxpayer. The new bill that's coming up, it puts it on the Board of Education, if it passes, to increase to that maximum, 9% that is going on. They put it on the Board of Education. They're not making that decision for them. They put the 2%, but they're not going over that. So they're going to put it on the Board of Education. And if you want the class sizes to go down, the state's not giving us any additional money. What are we supposed to do in order to make up that difference? Raise the taxes. Now, what the state will say is, you haven't raised the taxes. You didn't do everything you could do. Look, we gave you up to 9%. It's your problem. It's horrible.
Either. You're looking
yeah, I'm just saying, this is what we're all sitting here going back and forth. There's been a lot of ideas that have been kicked at us, and we have sat with every legislator that has come up with a different idea and was like, great, let's go.
What is the fire code? Does
Mr. Edwards?
I don't know that off the top of my head. I apologize.
I would really because I'll mention next time I'm in a classroom.
Yeah, Fred, we can email that to you.
I saw
it's not a problem.
It's not 38 by far, because 31 was busting out of the seams. Literally.
Yeah, so the fire marshal for Brick Township, we have to follow their regulations. So they inspect all the schools, and we have to tell them the room occupancy. But I mean, I can get that information from the fire.
Yeah,
marshal.
I would really like that, because I mean,
we
I
can email it to you.
Trying to fit a square peg in a round hole. I mean, It's just not.
But you have to also remember that our salaries, across the board, we had TWU members that were not even making, in some cases, minimum wage. Okay, we have teachers and administrators that were making less than around the county. You talk about keeping our educators. You need to pay them. You need to pay them. You need to show them that they're valued.
You need to show the teachers, though, too.
Yeah, no, that's what I just said. We did.
They're not even asking for money. They're just asking for what they need in order to have
I understand that. And we're doing the best we can with what we have. With what we have. And it's frustrating. How do you think, it's frustrating for all of us. It's frustrating for our administrators. It's frustrating for the president of the BTEA when we have to tell him and talk to him about these different things, and the TWU and our administrator union when we have to sit down and say there's cuts that need to be made or positions that need to go. And if it's not even bodies, but positions. And I know Dr. Farrell, Ms. McNamara, and all the administrators here have tried to concentrate on losing positions opposed to losing bodies. They're doing everything they can. There's really not that much left to get creative with if we're not going to get the income or the assistance from the state. There's just not. And it stinks.
Yeah.
It's aggravating. It makes you angry. It makes you exhausted. It's depressing. It's horrible. But state don't seem to care because it's not their problem. It's ours. We're not paying our fair share. So I appreciate your comments. It's nice to see you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comment? Seeing none, I'll close that. Any board comment?
I just want to say one quick thing. To all of our amazing teachers, to the world you may be one person, but to one person you may be the world. Thank you so much for what you do. We appreciate you more than I have words for, which is not happening very often. So that's it.
Sorry, any other board comment?
Yeah, quick comment.
Go ahead, Mike.
I just want to say the teachers in our district are incredible. I know a lot of them personally, and one thing that is really concerning to me is the teacher retention, as the audience member mentioned before. Definitely a concern. We just got to keep fighting. I know everyone on the board, administration, we don't know where to go next. I've met with state legislators already. Going to continue to do so, and we just got to keep fighting. So that's it.
Thank you, Mike. Madeline?
In echoing Mike, I've received many, many calls and many, many teachers coming into my work telling me that they can't work under these conditions. We tried. We're hoping to help you. We're hoping that it gets a little bit easier. But I too would like to know the square footage for the fire code. I also have something I want to read. I wrote this because I've had a lot of thoughts and I've been very anxious. I'm so disappointed that to balance a budget, we have to lose so much. Teachers having to teach classes up to 38 to 40 students, multiple languages in the classroom, with the possibility of one or more students having behaviors. How are children going to get a thorough, efficient education? Governor Murphy said in his speech that he was making the most significant investment in our public schools in history when giving his budget address to lawmakers. He said that he had a simple reason for keeping his promise. It was because we need to cultivate the potential of every student any way he could, from Cranberry to Camden. All right. Every district will get the amount of money needed to provide a thorough and efficient system of education for every student. I want to know why Governor Murphy feels we don't deserve any funding. We are trying to give our students a thorough and efficient education. We are trying to follow every little thing that is thrown at us, yet we are not getting efficient funding. Shame on you, Governor Murphy. Shame on you. For kids and teachers need your support, not a bill like A4161. I've also been to assemblymen. I've also been to senators and spoke with them. Every bill they've tried to pass without raising our taxes was put down. But now, all of a sudden, a bill that's going to raise our taxes 9.9% passed the assembly with no problem. We need your help. We need to get a bill that will pass, that will give us the funding that we need without raising the taxes. It's not unheard of. The money's there. We have towns getting money that are putting in swimming pools because they don't know what to do with the money. The other towns are doing just whatever they want while we're not able to give our kids the education that we want to, that they deserve, that, oh, by the way, Governor Murphy says every child should have. Instead, another town is putting in a pool, another town is doing something else, who knows what. I do want to say kudos to our teachers. You're all wonderful, and my heart goes out to you. You work very hard, and thank you for doing the best you can do. And again, I have to praise Dr. Anderson, because she works with them as hard as she can to make sure your children are getting the best education they can. Unfortunately, it's really tough. Thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you, Madeline. Anybody else? Fran?
I just want to reiterate, we have some of the best teachers. I moved here from California because the school system stunk. I had a kid that was just an emotional wreck because she wasn't being paid attention to. Trying not to get mom tears here, but it's not going to help. And we move here, and we have some of the most amazing, amazing teachers that told her she could, that tell your kids they can and they will, and they stand beside them. And it just kills me that because of, as I said before, dollars and cents and commas and stupid stuff like that, that our kids, they're not going to get what they need. And I adore all the teachers, because we seriously, we have such amazing teachers. We have teachers who I saw here crying because they are so frustrated. And I know they're amazing humans, and they are trying to educate and better our kids. And it's our future generation. I say it all the time, and it sounds so cheesy, but it is. These are the future leaders, and we're not doing right by them. We're not doing right by us either, because we all need to fit together. It's all a puzzle, and this puzzle just is missing all these pieces. And it's a shame. And, you know, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. Well, we keep doing the same thing over and over. I don't know what the change is that needs to happen, but something needs to happen. We need to change because it's not working. Something needs to change.
Thanks, Fran. Anyone else?
I do want to say I spoke to a member of the Senate Education Committee this week, and, you know, we just have to keep plugging. I want to give a quick shout out to Amaya for a full year as the Freehold Township High School rep. She came to every meeting. She was sweet. She was great. She was encouraging. Go Dragons. I'd also like to say thank you to all the teachers and support staff for your outstanding efforts for the students of Brick every single day. I want to say woo-hoo, celebrate you. We celebrated you tonight. Just keep that momentum going. Keep encouraging one another to do great things for our kids. And finally, on the calendar on May 18th, is the Brick Township Green Fair at 515 Herbertsville Road from 10 to 2 at the Bob Anstett Cultural Arts Center. This year's theme is Cradle to Cradle. Come to learn, come for the giveaways, but most importantly, come support our Brick students who are coming out to show all the wonderful ways their teachers have inspired them to save the earth. And it's going to be on the website if you need any more information. And I do have the privilege tomorrow to go to the New Jersey School Board Association's Spring Conference. Our topic is going to be student success, school safety, and public relations. Public relations. How many people talked about parents coming out tonight? So I look forward to attending that and learning more on how I can contribute and help. And I really think that the focus is on our kids and on the teachers and the programs they provide. That hasn't changed. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so May 27th, we have Memorial Day. School will be closed. June 6th and 7th, early dismissal for high school students only. June 10, 11, and 12, early dismissal for the district. June 12th, Lake Riviera Middle School's 8th grade promotion in Lake Riviera Middle School gymnasium, which is now air conditioned. So there's going to be two, one at 5 p.m. and one at 7 p.m. And then Veterans Memorial Middle School 8th grade promotion, 5 p.m. Veterans Memorial Middle School turf. Rain location will be 5 p.m. at Brick Memorial High School gymnasium. June 13th is the last day of school, early dismissal. Brick Township High School graduation, 4:30 p.m. at the Brick Township High School football field. And Brick Memorial High School graduation, 2:30 p.m. At the Brick Memorial High School football field. June 18th is our next regular meeting, back at our old location. Can I get a motion and a second?
Motion, Victoria.
Second, Ally.
Thank you, Mary.
Ms. Siebert.
Yes. Yes.
Ms. Kennedy.
Yes.
Ms. Benedictus.
Yes.
Ms. Iannarone.
Yes.
Mr. Mesmer.
Yes.
Ms. Bacala.
Yes.
Ms. Walrab.
Yes, thank you, everyone.